Greetings, Internet. Welcome to another edition of the Play Some Video Games podcast. I am one of your hosts, Delvin Cox. And with me, as always, is the man who eats all the hype, Mr. Donnie Reese.
Co-host number 2. Greetings, Koopalings. Good evening, everyone.
Dev will be here soon. I don't know, probably, maybe.
Maybe. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
He says he will.
Yes.
You never know, D-Life. You know, much like Rebecca, the show starts when he gets here. You know, they just got that big star personality.
Yes. Dev is the star of PSVG. He is the play some video games. And yes, Bear 33, you're banned. You know why? You piece of garbage.
I must have missed this. What happened?
What about the stupid thing from Baldur's Gate last week? He thought I was going to harass and slander him on Shaq. But see, I try to be a gentleman on Shaq.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because
thank
Shaq
you.
is where the good kids hang at. So I try to behave myself. But not here. Here is my home.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Slander the shit out you.
Our Nintendo show was talking about Mario laying pipe last week. I don't know.
That is true. I may have corrupted Shaq.
It was like 7 years of Shaq listeners probably like in their minivans with their family. Like, what the fuck has happened to the show?
What happened?
We're probably hemorrhaging listeners left and right.
Yeah, probably. My bad. Y'all wanted me on the show, so it's y'all fault.
Not y'all. Don't be throwing me. Who's we? We?
Donnie knew this was going to happen. He's like, you can't let him on.
No, I'm actually really happy that you're there. I think you stir the drink a little bit. Rebecca and I alone can be somewhat combative, right? So having a third to like mix it up, I think kind of just smooths out all the edges. I think it makes the show more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fun sitting there chatting with you two and going over things and talking about how much I love Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
that is a real thing, by the way.
I think you're maybe putting it on.
No, before the game even came out, I bought the Detective Pikachu amiibo because I was like, this is the stupidest.
There's a difference between thinking the amiibo and see, like I think a lot of people look at Detective Pikachu and they're like, oh, like the movie, and it's not like the movie at all.
Before the movie, yeah, but even before the movie, I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. But I love it. It's so ridiculous. I love it. And plus, you know, I like detective shows. One of my favorite TV shows of all time. It's
well, I hope you and Pikachu have a blast solving the mystery.
Well, the way you said that
of who took
the way you said that.
Captain Rick's coffee or whatever. That shit is lame as hell. It is so.
It's gonna be fun.
It was. I hope for the life of you, I hope they've improved it because it was.
I hope they do too.
The epitome of mid, bad mid, not good mid, the worst mid, like just mediocre as possible, just boring.
So a Deadly Premonition 2 mid.
No, at least that's like janky and probably all terrible ways, but at least it's trying to be something. Dude, Detective Pikachu was paint by numbers.
Oh, that's disappointing.
It was. I bought the game. Talk about disappointed. I bought it. I bought the damn game.
I can't go back now, Donnie.
I hope they make it better. It was just like it's like a very old game. It's like a Flash game. It's like some of those like cheap Cartoon Network games you could play like in your browser, you know, like 15 years ago.
You can't even say that now because those games have actually gotten good now.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. Before they got good, back when they were like,
they got good.
Drag the missing item into the shelf. You know, like maybe even like you remember like those browser-based like Nickelodeon games or cartoon. It was like help Dora find the keys, and you click on the key and like you found them. That was Detective Pikachu.
Don't even go nowhere.
That was exactly. That was Detective Pikachu. I was like, this shit is terrible. So,
have you played anything interesting, Donnie? Because I only played this Mortal Kombat.
Kyle the Pug says, I tried WWE 2K23 last Saturday. I'm starting to understand your points on it, Donnie. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what happened between 22 and 23, but the gameplay changes that they made, which I might add, at least the people on Steam love. And I think like the diehard wrestling fans, I think they love the changes that they've made. But me, I don't say I don't know. I'm an enthusiast wrestling game fan. I wouldn't call myself a diehard. Yeah, I hate them. Like I absolutely hate them. Like it was terrible. It was a rough time. My first hour with the game.
I think if I remember correctly, I'm trying to see if I remember which one is it. I want to say they made it simplistic, a little bit more simpler to play for 23.
I don't think that at all. No.
Oh,
I mean, it is a simple control scheme. The control scheme isn't anything to really adjust to. It's fine. But it was like the AI. The AI was constantly like reversing everything. And there would be periods of the game where like I couldn't even get a move in.
Okay, I got what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like it would reverse, and then I would get slammed, and then the computer would pick me up. I get slammed again. I get tossed out, and I was like in this constant state of like recovery for like minutes at a time. And I think people think that's fun because like it makes the Meltzer star rating better. But I was like, but I like my wrestling games to be more arcadey. You know, I'm not looking for simulation. Like let me script a match out and that type of thing.
This is very important. Who do you play as?
I mean, that night when I bought it was the night that Bray died, so I played a lot as Bray.
Because that very much well affects how that works. Because certain characters you can't counter shit.
Well, and as Kyle says, if you get knocked down, it's so hard getting back up in the stamina stretch. I generally don't like wrestling games that have a huge focus on a stamina system. It's kind of like
AEW had that problem too.
Yeah, I don't really like that mechanic. I understand why they try to do it, but I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, just let me get back up.
Just let me wrestle. Yeah. Like if you want to turn on those enhancements to make it harder or put it in the hard mode or something, fine. But like for the rest of the world, man, they just want to wrestle and put on fun matches and do cool moves. You know? Like, and you're like stopping all this from happening. And I mean, I'm sure there's people out there like, get good, dude. Like I was fine at the game. I didn't lose. I didn't tell you it's not Dark Souls or anything. It's just not fun. It's not moment to moment. Right. The enjoyment factor goes down for me. If you like that and you're like, oh, it's building the heat and you're building the comeback and the stars and this is how real wrestling, then buy the game.
Yeah.
I don't like any of that. So fuck that game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. It kind of comes off like it's making you not have offense.
Yeah.
As opposed to like artificially make you not have offense.
And at times,
instead of relying on your abilities.
At times it felt cheap though. There were times where I saw the meter, I felt like I was hitting the buttons and I still wasn't getting the reversals. Or the computer would suddenly just like take her up from the ground. Like I beat his ass for 4 minutes and suddenly he's got all this offense out of nowhere. Like that type of stuff feels cheap to me. So
yeah, it doesn't feel natural to you. If you're beating someone's ass in the game, it should be you're beating their ass. It shouldn't be
it kind of has like rubber banding.
Yeah.
So I like last year's version. I was happy I could get a return. That was the best thing about buying games on Steam. I was like, oh, well, this sucks. Give me my money back.
There's that window. Get my money back.
But anyway, that's enough about that game. But Kyle, I'm sad that you're not liking it, but go play Battlegrounds. I love Battlegrounds. Super fun.
There you go. Battlegrounds is good.
And if you need help with Battlegrounds, I've got a save that you can just download and install it and just unlock all the characters. So you don't have to fight through that and try to do
that is the best option.
The gold and everything. Like, no, I would just unlock everything from the start.
Yeah, don't do all that extra
I'm
shit.
so happy that I've adopted PC. Do you hear me? Like 5 years ago, me would sound very different.
That is one of the advantages of PC. Like,
I'm like, man, I done hacked my save file. I'm not doing any of this. Just unlock everything. Let me beat the hell out of fools.
Yes.
Yeah, I have played some things, but before I talk about them, you said you hadn't played anything?
I played Mortal Kombat, but not enough to talk about it.
Okay.
And I will tell this interesting story.
Some Starfield?
Because I had a rough day. No, I didn't play that. I had a rough day because I've been busy as shit. Like, really, today has been a day. Like, I can tell you this. You might be interested. I watched, I think it's called Talk to Me. horror film?
I saw that it's now out on video on demand. My wife and I were going to watch it. I was torn. I was standing there and I was thinking to myself, because right now you have to buy it. You can't rent it. You have to buy it.
Yes.
And if I could rent it, I would have watched it. But the buying part, like I want to wait to rent it, because my issue is if I love it, then I'm going to want to buy the DVD or the Blu-ray. Like I'm going to buy a physical if I love it. Right. So like with movies like that, I kind of want to rent them first, see if I like them, and then decide to buy the other thing. Because if I buy the digital version, then I won't buy the Blu-ray until it's like dirt cheap, because I feel like I've already bought the movie.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Like I
Did you?
really enjoyed it. I thought it was, yeah, I did. I liked it a lot. I think it's a well thought out kind of.
I mean, it's like
story.
It's like horror movie of the year by most outlets that I follow.
Has this been a year where you think there's been some good competition?
Not really. I don't think this has been a particularly
that's what
great
I'm
year
thinking.
for horror movies.
Yeah. I don't think it's been a great year, but out of a year that I haven't thought it's been great, this kind of stands out a lot. Like I watched it, and after I finished, like that was pretty good. I'd watch that again.
Do you want to do Decade of Horror with us this year?
I'm down. I've watched. Lord knows I've watched enough movies, horror movies this year.
We're gonna do it at the end of the month, but I mean, I don't want to. If Lucas is in, we'll do it with just Lucas. I don't want to do a 4-person show, but Lucas hasn't done it for a couple years, and I don't think he's gonna do it. So if he's out, then if you want to fill the chair, you're more than welcome to.
Okay. I think I've probably watched like at least 10.
I'll let you know the date. The date's coming up in a couple weeks. I've watched. I'm actually really impressed. I'm ahead of schedule. I'm almost done with all the movies that I had on like my list this year.
Okay.
For new releases, I've watched 23 for like this year movies. Okay. And I've watched maybe that many or more of like old movies. So instead of watching Talk to Me, we watched Night of the Creeps, which is incredible. And I haven't seen it in some time.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. So my wife and I have been, this year I've been getting way more into like, this year, like every year I kind of have a theme of what I'm trying to do. But it's not just like, I don't stick to like just a genre. A lot of times I really try to mix it up. I try to do some classic franchises, some new franchises, some spin-offs and things. But this year I've been really leaning into like 70s and 80s, usually like campy movies, exploitation movies. We watched Blackula last week. We had a lot of fun doing that. We watched Texas Chainsaw 2 this year, which she was not prepared for Texas Chainsaw 2.
Okay.
I told her, I was like,
experience.
I was like, this is gonna blow your mind when you see who pops up on screen here in a few minutes. We've had a lot of fun watching, and this has been good too, because I feel like for the last few years doing Decade of Horror, I've been focused so much on like the year, like the new releases, that I've been feeling like this years long craving to go backwards. Like I love horror movies because I like watching the old horror movies, usually more than the new ones anyway. So this year I'm kind of letting all that out. That's why I got started on my horror movie binge so early. I do want to see Talk to Me before we do the podcast. Like that's the one. Like there's a lot of them that I want to see before the podcast, but like if I don't get to the Nun 2, right? Like it'll be fine.
Yeah,
but like
I don't care about
that one.
So
that one I've got to see before we jump on the show.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the ones that came out this year that I watched that are mainstream. Like I watched.
I watched
of course. I
watched The Blackening, and I did not like it at all.
I enjoyed it. Only thing about it I didn't like was it's not really scary.
It's not my worst movie of the year. It's just kind of is. Like it's just kind of right down the road.
Yeah, I don't think it's scary.
I thought it would have been a bit more clever with its premise and setup. I thought they would have done a little bit more with it, and I just think they did exactly like if you wrote that movie in 1980, it would have been the same movie. It's just like this is just
you're correct.
So straight down the line, General Head.
If it was a Keenan Ivory Wayans movie, it would have been the same movie. Nothing really 100%. Different. And I think that's the problem with it.
I don't think it lived up to the trailer. The trailer made it. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great," and the trailer was better than the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but my problem. Shoot, I don't want to say it without spoiling it. My problem was that if you saw the tagline, you kind of can figure out what was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't need surprises,
Like-
but like with a movie like this, I wanted it to be a little clever, be a little smart, be a little surprising, and it just never was.
The hell are y'all talking about?
We're talking
That's
about
fair.
the Blackening.
The Blackening.
The horror movie. We're talking about horror movies. We've gotten off on a tangent.
So
the
this
whole
is
show's falling apart.
This is XP, basically. I've walked into an episode of PSVG.
Pretty much. Except we're talking about
pretty much.
actual movies and not like the Green Arrow on WB or,
Yes.
Whatever it is
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Canada. Much more television superhero show.
I got invited on another PSVG podcast, Dev. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah. We're going to do Decade of Horror in a
I would
couple
have
weeks.
been every PSV podcast
yeah.
this year.
The Decade of Horror. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
we got to get off the Decade of Horror. We can save that for Decade of Horror. Listeners, if you have no idea what Decade of Horror is, we'll release it. It'll be on the main feed. And if you like scary
Great
movies, you can listen to
series.
it. Give us a couple. I don't even know if not even a couple weeks. Give us like a week and a half.
Yeah.
It's coming up soon.
One of the best things PSVG does, in my
Thank
opinion.
you.
My humble
It is the
opinion. I love it.
least listened to thing that we do, which shouldn't be a surprise. But
That's a lie.
as I've
That
always
has
put it,
PSXP.
Sean and I have talked about it on Sweet Hangs a few times. I feel like Decade of Horror is like the most Donnie thing that I've done. Like it's got so much
Yes.
of like me and my heart and soul. It's I feel like the most equipped person. That's like my best fit on a podcast. It just so happens to be one that nobody cares to listen to.
Yeah.
I think it has a following. Yeah,
We had like
it's
a whole
niche.
production. Oh god, that thing got like 70 listens. I mean, not even
It's a
close.
niche. It's a niche following. It's
Very,
it does
very.
what it's supposed to.
But it's
Yeah.
fun, and I
You
look
just got to
to it.
find that horror crowd that likes it.
I look forward to it every year with Josh and I. It is definitely something that
Yeah.
I look forward to. I'm excited, but we'll do that next week. So if you're out there, if you're interested, but back to video games, I have played some video
I
games.
have a funny story.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me tell you this funny story before you get to this. So my
And welcome, Dev.
my kitchen sink pipe broke.
Just like me.
So this whole time I had to
How
go to
is that
home.
a funny story?
Yeah, so-
There's nothing funny about that.
I'm gonna get to it. Because I had to go to Home Depot and get the parts and stuff. But before I went
Parts he
there,
means flex.
I
seal.
noticed. No, I actually had to buy pipe. I wish it was Flex Seal.
Just slap it on there.
I actually go buy new parts. So as I'm getting ready to do this stuff, right? I just watch my son. He's up to some shit because he's cleaning my Vitas and stuff like that. He's like cleaning my
I
my
was about to
area.
hawk your shit.
I'm like, why are you doing that? Oh, I just want to keep it clean. I want to keep it clean, bro. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. See, he's a
So
good
then
man.
he just sits there. He just sits there and stares at me.
He's looking
now,
out for
anybody
you.
who's a parent knows if your kid is just staring at you for no reason at all, you're like, what the fuck do you want? Stop
did you
staring
do?
at me.
What did you?
He's like, I want to ask you something, but I don't want to ask you. I was like, ask me the goddamn thing you want to ask me. He's like, can I hack your Vita?
Yeah.
Like, it's not yours.
Oh no,
What
let him
happened
hack the
for?
damn Vita.
No, I'm gonna get to that. He said, yeah, let me hack. I said, you know what, go ahead. So I go to Home Depot. I get back from Home Depot.
He found the Vita in the
It's
garbage disposal.
no,
Right?
I
The
wish.
Vitas would broke the pipes.
I get I get back from Home Depot and he's just staring at me. He's like at the door staring at me. Like, did you just sit there and wait there for me at the door? Like, no, I hacked it really fast, like in 5 minutes. Like, oh, thank you for hacking my Vita. I'll take it and go play it now. And he's like, he just stares at me like, he's staring at me. Like, you hacked it because you want the Vita, don't you? Yes. I say, well, good luck with that.
It's good to have dreams, son. Everybody
what he
needs
was
something
thinking,
to aspire to, something to attain. It's good for you.
Yes, because I have two. I have an OLED one.
Damn,
the
you can't
newer
have
model.
one. You have two. That puts you in a whole
I
different
think
light.
on
Damn baller.
the original model, I have.
Man's like, I have six
the,
in all different
left stick
colors.
doesn't work.
You can't fucking touch one.
Goddamn right. The older one I have, I think the stick doesn't work on it. One of the sticks doesn't work on it. So that's
okay,
why I
that
have
makes
the
sense.
other one. But he's smart enough to know, let me hack the other one.
Oh yeah,
like the newer model.
sure.
So, like, this little kid right here.
If
This
he had
dude
any
thinks
sense,
he's
he
slick.
would have tried to fix it. Like, let me
Yeah.
fix the stick.
Let me fix the one with the stick.
Yeah, if he'd have fixed the broken one, I would have like, yeah. But he just goes out and gets the brand new one, like the one with the external memory and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, you're doing this wrong. This is not how you con your dad.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to get
Hey,
the.
Dad,
You
But
gotta
I'm
get-
quite
I
sure.
fixed the broken one. Can I go ahead and hack it?
Yeah, if he would have said that, I'm like, yeah, you can have it. Go ahead.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
For
you got to
fixing
hack it. You got to fix it, and you got to hack it. You got to put the micro SD card in it, and then hack all the games. Beautiful little system.
it. Yeah.
If only somebody like we need to swap it out with like a new launcher. I hate the Vita OS so much. It sucks.
The Vita OS is trash.
It's so
Oh, let me
terrible.
tell you my
It's
favorite part of this whole thing.
So terrible. I don't know who came up with that idea. These stupid bubbles and shit. Like this is egregious.
It is bad.
The worst.
It's so bad.
Let me tell you my favorite part of this. This is how I know he wanted it. He hacked it, right? Then he changed my home screen to Persona 5. Like, I didn't want that shit. Because it's his favorite game.
Sure.
Like, motherfucker, I didn't want that. Why did you do that? That's not my favorite game. It's your favorite game.
I would love to see
The
Sony
audacity of him.
take on a Vita 2 concept today with like as much as portable gaming has come with their software prowess. I would love to see them take it on. Be incredible.
They have it already. What is it called? The PlayStation, whatever that's the
That ain't it.
thing you call it?
PlayStation Portal system.
The Portal, that's right. I was going to call it the Q. I think Q's a better name than Portal.
Q is definitely a better name
PlayStation.
than Portal.
People were like, get it?
Bullshit.
Portable? I'm like, yeah, we get it. It's not that clever. It's
That's
pretty
not
stupid.
even what they were thinking. They weren't
not.
thinking portable. They were thinking the
Portal to
the
your PS5. Yeah, it's even
Yeah.
still dumb.
There's a question about dumb shit that Xbox does later in this episode. Let's watch some of the dumb shit that PlayStation does like this. This is dumb as fuck. This is
Okay,
what
it's
we
gonna
asked
be-
for PlayStation.
It's going to be a long show. Let's get move on. Dev,
Yes.
you playing anything?
No.
Okay.
course.
I've played a lot of games this week. I'm on vacation. So I'm having a fun vacation. I'm putting up my Halloween
Vacation
decor.
Donnie.
And yeah, I had a great day. Monday when we kicked off the vacation, like the real vacation. Honestly, I started the day the best way you could possibly start it, and we'll just leave it at that. I think you can fill in the blanks there. And then my wife and I,
Delight.
we took the Roadrunner up to a different city. We wanted to go out on a drive. It's nice weather here, so it's like low 70s right now with a breeze. Took T-tops off. We're gonna take the Roadrunner out and go get lunch, go shopping, and all that. And wouldn't you know it, as it always happens to me when I go on vacation, we go to a park. Damn, coolant is bubbling. Everything. Damn, fan belt came off. Thought I was gonna have to tow the Roadrunner back home and like get an Uber. I was so pissed. I was like, why does this always happen to me when I go on vacation? Why can't I just go have a good day? Luckily for me, a guy walked by, happened to love the car. Oh, by the way, side tangent. I've never had so many people love the car. We went and got lunch. Everybody was, people just stopping, taking pictures. I may have had 100 people tell me something about the car. I had somebody come out, somebody used to have one. Yeah, it was
That's crazy.
kind of weird.
That's cool.
My car in the next city over is a big deal. In my city, my car's like a 3. In that city, the car's a 9.
There
It's
you
a
go.
big deal over there. But the guy walked by. He's taking a look at it. I've got the hood popped, and I'm like, yeah, the fan belt came off. I normally don't carry tools with me because I normally don't drive the car like very far away from home. Right? So I'm always kind of within distance of my shop. And he's like, well, we just happen to have a shop like literally across the block, like just walk across the street. So I walk over there. I'm like, hey, dude, the fan belt came off. Like, can you put it back on? And yeah, we rode over there. He took the alternator down, put it back on, got it all set. The belt was fine. And, but he did tell me, he was like, hey, he's like, like your carburetor could be tuned a little better. I was like, oh, shots fired at my shop. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, we can tune a little bit better. So I'm going to go back actually tomorrow and get carburetor tuned. And he was telling me some other things that I should keep on hand and things. So I'm going to go and just kind of hang out and meet this guy and let him tune the carb tomorrow. So I'm going to take it back out.
Is that like cheating?
It feels that way a little bit.
Kind of feels like dirty.
I feel like I'm going to go back to the shop and like turn the key and it cranks up and they're going to be like, who's touching your car? Yeah. So I had a lot of fun doing that. I'm now on my way to doing my Halloween decorations. That's what I got started on today, which I made an egregious error. I wanted to do something different this year, and I've been thinking about doing something different for a while now because my daughter's about to leave. My daughter does all the lights, like all of the like the Christmas type lights that we wrap around the porch and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm never gonna do it without her. I'm just not gonna do it. It's just too much work. I'm like, no, I'm not doing all that. So I've been trying to think of like other ways to decorate the porch without that. And I came up with this idea. I've never even seen other people do it, although I'm sure they do. I was like, I'm just gonna put streamers on it. It'll look really cool. We'll do a bunch of streamers in like purple, black, and orange. And like when the wind blows, they'll move and stuff. And when I do the fog machine and the other lights, like it'll look really cool. It then dawned on me after I put them all up, and they do look cool, by the way. If anybody wants to go in the Discord, you can see it. They look great until it rains.
Oh.
Then it's just going to become a nasty mess. They're going to fall off. They're going to crumble and stick together and be in there. I was like, this isn't going to work. Like,
You didn't think this one through.
Yeah, I didn't think this one through. So I have since gone out and I was talking to my daughter while she was hanging up other lights, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could like just wrap the porch in like a vinyl, like a tapestry or something, and just kind of like almost like a wrestling ring apron, just like wrap the bottom of the porch in something. And I don't think that they make things specifically for that, but they do make like garage door covers, which are more or less the same kind of idea.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought 4 of them today, and I will test them out when they arrive. And I think I'll take the streamers down. So
This man does
Does
not
it
go
rain that
halfway with
much
anything.
around
Yes.
in October?
I'm sorry.
I said, does it rain that much in October?
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Look, I live in the place where it does not rain. So
Didn't y'all have like
I
8
wouldn't
feet
know.
of snow or some shit?
Not where
And
I
like
live.
a volcano and an earthquake?
Yeah, it never rains
Not
in Southern
where
California.
Not where I live.
There's a song about that. See you when I get there.
So anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that. I am playing a bunch of games. So this weekend, we're watching football with Jack. Sucked. I don't want to talk about the Browns. It's a ridiculous, terrible experience. But we're watching the football game all day on Saturday. My in-laws are here. I'm having to play host, which was its own thing, by the way. That was, yeah. She
No,
left
thank
me
you,
here
friend.
taking grenades, left me by myself. with
left
her
you?
Left me, which was fun.
Parentals?
And I had to listen to her dad say some outlandish. It was so funny. We were talking about Colorado. We'll talk about it when we get to Colorado later. So I'm sitting on the couch. Jack is playing Retro Bowl, and he's like, I wish these teams had, like, I wish the college teams were in Retro Bowl. And I was like, well, there's a team editor. You can just change all the teams. You can do it yourself. He's like, really? And I showed it to him, and he sat there all day and changed all of the teams in Retro Bowl to college football teams.
That is your son.
He changed every uniform, every helmet, all the short names, all the abbreviations, everything. Went through and changed the team colors, so the crowd and the field matches and everything. And then he started playing it, and I was like, I'm going to need you to back that save up to my Switch. And then I started playing. I was like, guys, this is going to be a problem. I have NCAA, like, Retro Bowl football on the go, and I've played, like, 3 seasons of Retro Bowl since. Like, this is highly addictive.
That's awesome.
We're having a lot of fun with that. And then if you guys didn't see yesterday, it was announced that Bit Trip Rerunner was released. This is Bit Trip Runner remade, so like a remake of Bit Trip Runner with a bunch of new mechanics that they've added to the game. And they added Rerunner or Runner Editor. So it's like a Mario Maker. You can design your own levels thing they added to it for $20, 20% off launch thing. I had to get it. I love the Runner series.
That's a
I
good
bought
deal.
it. I was playing it on the Ally, and it's so, and lucky me. You remember maybe a month or 2 ago, I stashed up a bunch of credit for Call of Duty and stuff, and I think you helped me. We exchanged PSN codes.
Yes, we did.
I had $14.99 left from all the purchases that I made, so I didn't pay anything for Runner. I was just like, here, take
Just
it.
enough.
Yep, just enough to cover it. And I was playing it earlier today, and it's great. I was playing on the Ally, and I love it. So if anybody out there likes Runner, if you played Runner 2 or Runner 3 or any of the Bit Trip games from like the WiiWare, if you didn't hear, Bit Trip Rerunner is available, I believe PC only at the moment. I'm sure it'll show up on Switch and consoles at some point, but right now you can only
Very
on
soon.
Steam. So that's my rundown of how the week was. You guys ready to kick it in gear
Let's go.
Let's go.
in honor of Halloween.
Goddamn how famous I am or whatever, it don't matter to me because I'm about dead anyway, so what I give a shit.
Do you need a second look at that?
That was brilliant.
Nonsense.
Okay. We didn't talk about the state of play last week because it was the day after we recorded, so I'll give you a recap. Helldivers 2 has been delayed to February 8th. Final Fantasy Rebirth will come out on February 29th. There was a new Spider-Man trailer, and then we had the preview embargoes start to lift. Newsflash, spoiler alert, everybody loves it. Everybody's going to love it. The game is going to be huge.
Went gold today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC is out now, right? Or is that tomorrow? That's tomorrow. It's out tomorrow. I never played that. I was never really interested in that. Is it fun? Have you played it?
Well, it's not out yet. It comes out tomorrow.
No. Did you play it the first time?
I don't think I did. I don't remember it being a thing.
So it's
I
like
don't remember that DLC.
you play as like when you're playing the campaign in Resident Evil 4, there are all these times where like something happens and you can tell
You
like
can play
somebody's
as Ada,
helping.
right?
Yeah. So like with this, you play as Ada and you're doing those moments where she helps out. And I was just never interested in it. I've never heard anybody be like, you got to play it. I've never done it.
I don't remember this thing at all. I remember you can play as Ada, but I remember it being called Separate Ways.
This is surprising. Tales of Arise is getting an expansion called Beyond the Dawn, and it's out November 9th. I never thought we'd hear about that game again. When did that game come out? Like 2 years ago?
I have no
I
idea
think so.
what game that is.
It's been a while,
Maybe
right?
a year and a half ago.
I was like, wow. So you got that. There was an Avatar Frontiers of Pandora trailer.
2020,
Like a
Tales of
Ubisoft game.
Arise.
2020, 3 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
If Avatar comes to Game Pass, I might try it.
I'm not trying
Yeah, I
that
mean,
shit.
it's Avatar Far
Fuck
Cry,
that shit.
basically.
It looks like my
it's
sort of game.
literally
I just
Far
don't.
Cry.
I'm not interested in the characters of the setting at all. But maybe it's like a
fuck
gateway
that.
drug. Maybe it gets me into it. I don't think so.
I mean,
Nah,
if you
I'm
want to
good.
play a Far Cry with blue aliens, yeah.
I really don't. Baby Steps was shown, the Devolver game. I wrote this. What did this down? I copied and pasted this from article. I don't know what this is.
Maybe the new colors of the.
Well, I've got the colors here.
Oh, I don't know what the.
Anyway,
heck that
I'm
is.
going to pass on that. Foam Stars open beta begins September 29th through October 1st.
Why?
If you want to get in early on that, you can go around
Why?
and splish splash while you're taking a bath. And then PlayStation announced the Deep Earth collection of DualSense controllers and PS5 shells. They will come in volcanic red, cobalt blue, and sterling silver.
Nope.
Nah, I'm good on that.
Okay, that was your
Good on
recap.
all that.
All
Let's
right,
get on
so
that
let-
whole damn state of play.
Let's get to the good news. The news
How-
that everybody wants to hear about.
How was PlayStation Land after this? Were they excited? Because remember, I
Wow,
remember
I would check.
when the thing happened, because I've been kind of in and out of the Discord on my vacation. I've been really good. I told you I wasn't going to type. Outside of these notes, I haven't typed anything all week long. But I don't think that was what like people want like to know what first party's doing, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody really cared about this state of play.
It just kind of
outside
came and went.
Stingray X because there was some
Yeah,
VR stuff, but yeah, nobody. It was just like, okay, we got a date for Helldivers, we got a date for Final Fantasy. Okay,
Any
cool.
chance they have TGS stuff, or was
Oh, a
this
lot
the
of people talk about
TGS stuff?
Final Fantasy. That's about it, really.
I mean, yeah, there might be something. at
Final
TGS.
Fantasy and Spider-Man.
Final Fantasy was a big deal.
Yeah, Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
definitely.
got some more stuff, but that was really it.
I
There was
think-
a date for Helldivers.
All of this like this anxiety over PlayStation first party and what they're doing and all that, I think all of that goes right out the window as soon as PlayStation releases. And nobody cares for at least like at least like what 4 to 6 weeks before people start drumming that up again.
I don't care.
They're
now.
very,
I got
like-
Spider-Man coming. Who gives a shit?
They're very in like that Nintendo realm where they can just kind of coast from like release to the next release to the next release.
Yeah.
They don't have to like win you over by showing you 3 years of plans.
Yep.
Speaking of showing 3 years of plans and what possibly is the biggest leak in the history of video games, I mean, it's got to be. Microsoft has uploaded all of their future plans, essentially, at least as they stood 2 to 3 years ago. So they're trying to conclude this filing with the FTC while they wait for the CMA approval. And I guess they had to upload some documents. So they uploaded a document that had a PDF to a portal. And apparently that portal was made publicly. And as I understand it, there was a link to like a OneDrive, like a shared drive, an Azure drive maybe, in that PDF that was unrestricted. And when you clicked on that, you got access to like everything they filed on behalf of the court. So some of it's redacted, but a lot of it isn't. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. We're talking like what Game Pass games cost for them to make, their future plans on hardware, their future plans on software. Basically, Bethesda's roadmap was leaked. Like the internet knows all of these things. It's wild. I
Microsoft,
feel
you kind of invented this shit. How do you fuck this up?
it's just got to be a personal oversight by like a paralegal or something, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's legal. This is like Phil
Windows.
Spencer isn't
Windows
uploading the documents.
This is a virus. This is a virus on Windows. This is basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, this is bad.
I've seen more places people talk about this than anything else.
Oh, the PlayStation people seem to have a lot of feelings about this. It's strange how this gets going, and all of a sudden,
they don't want to talk about their state of play. They talk, fuck that state of play. Let's talk about this shit.
We have a lot of things to read, so I'll do this section by section, and we'll stop. So the first thing that I wrote down, and I did not cover everything. I think I got like the heavy hitters. So we're gonna hit treetops here. So there's a new controller coming. Its code name is Sebel. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yes, Sebel.
And it's a new controller that will feature direct-to-cloud interface, as well as an improved Xbox Wireless 2 connection, as well as Bluetooth 5.2. It's set to be announced at some point next year. Although I've seen people speculate it could be announced this year. Should cost $69.99.
Might as well drop it now. Fuck it.
It includes an accelerometer.
Might as well.
Which will let you like pick up the gamepad, and I guess it'll turn on or wake up. I have seen people report that it has gyro. In the briefs that I was reading, there's no mention of gyro. I think people are seeing the accelerator and they're thinking gyro. And I could be wrong. There could be gyro, but I didn't see anything that actually said you can like motion aim with the controller. So
Yeah,
I
that'd
don't
be
know.
weird.
I mean, like, doesn't the PlayStation controller have gyro?
Not anymore, I don't think.
I know the Switch does. I thought the DualSense had gyro. I thought that was a thing.
I think the original one on like PS3 had that. I don't think it has it in
Okay.
this one in DualSense.
Microsoft also lists precision haptic feedback as well as VCA haptics double as speakers on the controller. So borrowing
we're
from
making the Xbox DualSense.
pretty much just like DualSense made the Nintendo Switch. It looks like they're going to jump on the haptics bandwagon and do the same thing that the other folks are doing as well. In a break from convention, they will feature a rechargeable and swappable battery, as well as modular thumbsticks. So we can finally put to rest this internal versus batteries versus external thing, and we can they're going to do the same thing.
They say we're not going to have the problem that the DualSense has with the short battery life. We'll just put a new battery.
Make your own battery life. It features based on the graphic that was shown, and there's like a full marketing demo. We don't know this to be, again, this is 2 years old at best, so plans change. But it will feature a two-tone white and black scheme that's horizontal. So it kind of looks like the controller kind of has pants, like on the thumb grips. Like the thumb grips are black while the top of the controller is white. And my immediate reaction was, this is hideous.
The Xbox has pants. The DualSense
for the Pants
has a bra.
Patreon podcast, we know, like there's an obvious marketing tie in here.
Xbox Sean Caprice. There you go.
So I'm going to stop. We'll just talk about the controller. A direct-to-cloud interface is intriguing. I'm interested in knowing like how much of an improvement that is. Is it noticeable? I'm not in the market for another Xbox controller, and haptics are nothing to me. Like I've gotten to the point in my life where I just turn them off. So I would never say never, because I love buying controllers. I buy all controllers. So I think I'll probably get one day, but I will wait probably for a special edition controller before I even give it a try.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
As soon as there's a Gears one, you're going to get it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like when they have something like that, I'll get one. But this design
Can you imagine the haptics on that chainsaw?
I'm not doing any of that. I hope they allow us to at least disable it. I've disabled all that. I turn all that shit off on my Switch. I had it on my PlayStation.
I love the haptics. Like,
I know you do.
So the DualSense, like when you use it with, in order to get the PlayStation prompts on Steam, it completely fucks up all of the actual rumble in the controller. So I'll be playing Destiny and shooting a gun, and eventually the gun, like the motor just kind of cuts out. It's so annoying. I hate that. It drives me nuts because it just doesn't feel right when you're shooting a gun and you're used to the rumble, and then it's just not there. It's just fucking weird, man.
Mathman says, I just wanted to hop in and say that I love the show. I don't watch it live, so that I have something to look forward to on Thursday. Keep up the good work. Thank you, man.
Thanks
for listening.
We appreciate that.
I know you like them, and I'm not even saying that they're bad. It just doesn't do a whole lot for me. Like I think I'm just kind of like I'm over Rumble in general. Like to me, it's like all of them. Like just turn it off. I just want to play the game. Just let me hold my controller and just play the game.
I don't think I can play a game without Rumble anymore.
Me
Really?
either. It just doesn't feel right.
I find sometimes I'll get into some games, and it's one of those things where sometimes like I wouldn't notice it, so I don't care. But sometimes I would get into a game where it would rumble when it wasn't supposed to, and I'd just be like, oh my God, just fucking turn this off. And it really bothered me. I think the reason they're doing it is for PC. I think that's the only reason they're doing this. I think they're doing this to be feature complete so that they continue to be like the go-to controller in the PC space. I think that's why they're adopting a lot of this stuff. And this shouldn't come as a surprise. Phil has alluded to this several times over the years that they were going to change the controller in some way. I also generally don't like the look of the controller. Like it changes, the mold is changed. It's not an Xbox controller. Like it's a different look. It looks more like a PlayStation controller than the traditional Xbox controller. The sticks are still split, but like it still has like that grip horizontal kind of look. And it might be the color scheme playing tricks on my eyes. But it gives me more of that shape in my mind. Like if you
saw just Xbox controller, and for that reason I was out.
Okay. I think they said the buttons are quieter. I've never had a problem.
Who the hell cares about quiet buttons?
Dev, I don't know if you'll be surprised. You won't be surprised, but I don't know if you'll be happy to hear that I play most of these days with a wire controller anyway.
As you should.
So I've moved over to the wire controller some time ago, and I have an 8BitDo Ultimate wireless controller, and this is what I play with most of the times, and I disabled Rumble in the software, like at the controller level. It's like I never want this thing to shake ever.
So you're playing like this is the early 90s.
I mean,
SNES.
That's how I do. It's always wired.
The reason that I went that way is because with my fancier controllers, a lot of times I just didn't want to use them. Like they're on display and things, I didn't want to mess with them. But jumping from launcher to launcher with Steam, I always encounter like controller jank, right? Where Steam is running in the background and it sees your controller, but then maybe like the computer sees your controller, but doesn't treat it like a controller, treats it like a device. And I was like, fuck it. Again, like the Rumble, just plug it in. Like I just want it to work when I press the damn button.
Yep, that's exactly why
that is a good point.
Plugged in. I don't ever try to play with the wires because it just doesn't fucking work. Doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
If you're hopping from game to game like I do, from launcher to launcher, you will encounter issues. Moving on to consoles. So, Codename Brooklyn is a revision to the Xbox Series X. At the time of the leaked presentation was made, it was scheduled to arrive in 2024. This is an all-digital device, which has caused a shitstorm. It will feature 2 terabyte of storage. It will feature a die shrink, so no power increase, but it should be more efficient. It's more eco-friendly. It's less power hungry. It'll come with the new controller, obviously, and it has a tube cylinder type of design. Looks a lot like your Echo or Alexa speaker.
It looks like the Mac trash can.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. I don't mind, I guess, the shape of it. It's not. I've always wanted an Xbox Series X like cut in half. Like literally at the top, just make it shorter, but like keep the same square, like the same cube. I like the design. So this doesn't appeal to me design wise.
I thought it looked cool personally.
You like it? I think there will be. It looks techie. I give it that. It just looks techy.
Yes,
It's
it
kind
looks
of what,
really slick.
It looks
Yeah,
like
it's
a
what-
speaker or a Wi-Fi adapter. No, it doesn't look like a console at all.
it'll
I hate it.
totally just fade into your entertainment system. It is completely
Exactly.
unnoticeable.
I like it.
Fucking ugly.
I dig it.
It's got a front
Oh,
forward
no.
USB-C. It'll feature Bluetooth 5.2 as well as Xbox wireless support. But a new one is Wi-Fi 6E support. So, more digital, more
What that
cloud,
means.
more
So I guess
stuff.
that just
It
means
just
faster
means a
Wi-Fi.
better,
More
faster
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, which you shouldn't be
If
using
your
in the
router
first
can
fucking
support it.
place. Right. That's the other thing. You need to have a router that actually supports that. Just plug the fucker in.
Yeah, I plug mine in. So a lot has been said about this. So let's bring this up now. Let's start at the top, dude. People were big mad that they're releasing an all digital console. Everybody's just like, this is the
That's
end
what
of
we're mad about?
the physical age. And yeah, that's what people are mad about. People are big mad that there's a digital console.
You people that keep buying physical games, if it's not a Switch game, get the fuck over and stop buying physical games.
I mean,
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm going to say something, and it's not meant to sound as fanboy as it is. Why weren't people still outraged when PlayStation released a digital console?
Because they also had the other one.
But so
They
do
had the
we.
disc.
We have
But
one
this
now.
is
I
the
have
better
one.
This is the better one.
But it's not really better. It's the same thing.
That's 2
It's a
terabytes.
revision.
It's 2 terabytes. It's better, faster, stronger.
Okay.
you know,
And that means that that's the end of the physical age.
smaller.
apparently.
That
Yes,
means
it's
it's the end. I can't imagine that. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
Also,
Age extinction.
it's been proven
AOE,
that
baby.
Xbox's customer
Glad you
base
got that.
are more adoptive of digital than the other consoles. Most of their
Fuck you.
stuff
What the
is
fuck you dish out
digital.
for? You're playing Game Pass.
They're doing Game Pass. Exactly.
All your
Like,
games
what
are digital anyway.
Of all of the people
Yeah.
to go digital, Xbox is undoubtedly the one that would and should.
One.
And people are big mad about a digital console.
The
And I
only-
can't believe it because they're
You're
like,
not playing
only reason.
games.
they're like, they're
only
exactly. We talk about how Xbox physical games are tanking. Nobody
You're not
buys
playing
them
games. What the fuck
because
are
they're
y'all
on
talking
Game
about?
Pass. It doesn't
Are
make any
these people
sense.
mad because now they can't play their Xbox enhanced old ass 360 games?
Just buy them on the store.
Some aren't
Yeah.
some of them not available?
They're in Game.
Yeah. And the
Yeah, I
ones
don't
that
know.
are
I
available-
guess Red Dead. Maybe if you have a copy of Red Dead, you can't play it.
But
If you don't
wasn't
own the
there a
game.
leak that said that they're probably releasing a next gen patch for Red Dead anyway?
Yeah, there will be a next gen that's on here somewhere in this
Yeah.
myriad of notes that I took.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the design. We talked about being all digital. It has the new controller. I would like to see that controller in all black, especially because the console's in all black. It's weird.
Yes.
Console's in all black. Here's your white and black controller. Like, I'm kind of hoping.
At all.
Equality.
I'm kind of hoping that the white and black controller is kind of like. That's ridiculous. I'm hoping that the white and black controller is like just marketing promo, and that what they're trying to show is that the controller can come in black or white. So if you have like a Series S, it comes in white. If you have the Series X, it comes in black.
That's segregation, Johnny. We don't like that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm not interested in another console.
Yeah, especially
think it
not
looks
when
cool.
it's not better. It's not
not
really
better at
any
all.
better.
It's not better.
It just has
Are you going to
more
get one?
storage.
Of course you're going to get one.
No,
You
absolutely
gonna
not.
get one.
He's going to get one.
No!
Over
It's
under
better
Delvin
than what I
Cox
got
has the
now.
new Xbox within a year of release.
95.9%.
100%.
I barely play the one I have now.
That doesn't stop you from buying it, though, did it? It didn't
It's like
stop you
no.
from buying it at all.
No.
What, the GameStop
It's
will
my
run some
Gears
sweet
machine.
promo. They'll be like, hey, trade in your old one and get the new one. Delvin's like, well,
No.
I head down to the GameStop.
Yeah, probably.
Somehow you can
Meet
get
my
the best
friend that
deal.
gives me access to games a week early. Buy that shit
Yes.
outside the store. My bucket
And
of
then I
chicken.
still play all the games on
Bucket
PlayStation
of, was it
instead of
rice?
on Game Pass.
Chicken wings
Bucket
and
of
rice?
Goddamn.
Bucket of rice.
Bucket of
baby.
rice? Chicken
It
wings?
remind me that I have to go to
Bucket
the
of
store
Xbox.
and buy
That
a
sounds
bucket
like a
of rice.
sweet
so I
day,
can show
Delvin. New Xbox,
That is, that's like-
bucket of rice, chicken wings. You get the new Zelda 3 weeks early. It's a sweet deal.
I didn't buy the Atari yet. I plan on someone buying it for me for Christmas. I'm not paying for that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I have no interest. Maybe again, just like the controller. If they have a sweet Fable one or something, sure.
Yeah. Johnny, you're a PC gamer anyway.
I really am. Like I don't want and I will tell you this, I don't want a tube. Like the cylinder
Yes,
doesn't do
I
anything
don't-
for me. I don't want that at
I'm a
all.
fan of that. No.
So
How do you customize that? It's a
You
little
don't.
weird.
you just wrap it.
That's the
You
problem.
just have like
Just
a,
wrap
I
it
would
up.
rather have the console wrap for my Series X. So give me that instead of this.
Yep.
like the
Moving
tool,
on.
not enough.
Or anybody else have anything else to say about the revision for the X? Oh, another
Absolutely
thing that
not.
people are upset about is Phil Spencer said that they weren't going to change. Somebody asked him recently about half steps and all that, and people are mad. They're like, "See, he lied to us." My take:
isn't a half step
This is a
at
revision. This isn't
Yeah.
a pro model.
This is like
it's
the
not
Slim.
a X enhanced. It's a slim. It's a
It's
revision.
their version of the Slim.
You
Yeah.
think they'll call it like the Xbox Series C for like cylinder?
Oh God, I hope not.
What are they going to call it? The Xbox Series Tube?
They're gonna call it the Xbox Series X New or some shit like that. Something
The
stupid.
new
Series.
Xbox.
I always wanted
new
them to
Series
go
X.
like to use the Series team and then go like X1, X2, X. I always wanted them to do that.
Call it Xbox Classic.
What? It doesn't look anything like a classic. How would that make sense?
New Coke.
New Coke.
That's what they do. They just name it like stupid shit. Like,
The Xbox can.
yeah.
Yeah. Xbox Series X can.
Xbox biscuit roll.
Yes.
Xbox dorm room trash can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In addition to the X, there's also a revision coming to the S, codenamed Elwood. Again, it'll get all the Wi-Fi connection stuff. It'll get the new controller. It'll have the upgraded terabyte hard drive, which we've
Elwood.
already seen
Right.
with the new black model. So I'm assuming that that model will just get the new upgraded ones as well, and they'll just kind of phase out the new one that they have. But also in that marketing thing, they mentioned when they release the Elwood that they'll make the current Series S $199. They're like, we'll just do a doorbuster on Black Friday. We'll sell them for $200 and we'll get rid of stock.
Didn't they do that with the? I forget. There was some Xbox that was like $199. It was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the 360
the
had a
Series
lot
S.
of revisions like that.
The Series
And
S, that's what it was.
The Series S you can get below $199 if you shop around on Black Friday.
Yeah.
I saw them at like $169, $179.
Yeah, I
They're
think I was.
available.
I got I bought like 3 of them for Christmas gifts because they were so cheap. Like, oh, here you go.
D-Life
It's
has a
Xbox.
call. He says Xbox
Christmas.
Series E. Could be that.
Why?
It's not bad. Seriously,
Probably like eco,
Hey, yo, like
energy
extra
friendly
cool.
or something like that.
I don't like it.
There was an entire plan, a marketing campaign in this leak talking about their plans for next generation. Their plans right now is that they want an ARM64 CPU paired with an AMD GPU and an NPU to be able to do advanced cloud and AI tactics. Their plan is to leverage AI and cloud to deliver a hybrid cloud console experience. Features super resolution, frame rate improvements, character dialogue generation, and more. Microsoft's vision, according to the document, is, and this is a quote, develop a next generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences. It'll be optimized for real-time gameplay and creators, will enable new levels of performance beyond the capabilities of the client hardware alone.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
it's like,
NPU
okay, yeah.
is interesting. I didn't realize that they were already thinking of that. I want to stress, and I don't think enough people have said this about this leak. I want to say this. This leak was from 2 years ago. Do plans change?
Yep.
Like, this is kind of like a pie in the sky. Like,
That is true.
here's where our head is at for a decade from now. But like, who knows what happened? Like, by the way, they were planning to release in 2038 is what they were like. Who knows if that becomes the release, and who knows what their head is then? And the market changes.
38?
I'm sorry, 2028. Sorry,
I was about to
2028.
say,
I looked down until 2030. They also plan to have console customization added to Microsoft Xbox Design Lab to let people create their own consoles and buy them. That's something they wanted to do by 2030.
that's cool.
It's cool.
A truly custom console.
It's interesting to see that they're not. We all know that they're all thinking about next gen, but it's interesting to see like kind of how they're thinking about next gen. And for the people that are worried about like the cloud thing, like I honestly really wouldn't be. Like, we're already seeing like Flight Sim do that and stuff. I think that's kind of the future. And by the way, like the hardware that they're speccing, like GPU, the AMD 60, like those are super. That's a leap forward. So they're not only trying to go leap forward natively, they're then trying to enhance that even more by leveraging some cloud tasks. And I just think that's if you're in the tech world, that's just the world. Like that's just
the
yeah,
cloud
that's just
is the future.
the cloud is the future. Everybody's going to be doing that eventually. An interesting factoid. As of 2022, 74.8% of Xbox owners, the new consoles, owned Series S. The Series X trailing 25% of the new console base.
I would have never guessed
Basically,
I would
most
have.
people, their Series S is like their companion to whatever their console they're actually playing on.
I would have guessed this for
Yes.
2 reasons.
Yeah,
Dev nailed it.
Me.
It's a great secondary console option. If you have a Switch, you can get a Series S. If you have a PlayStation 5, you can get a Series S. Also, if you have a Series X, but you want to play it in other bedrooms, you get a Series S. It's also the most affordable console. So the most affordable console, it's the cheapest way to play Halo and Starfield and all these other things. So I'm not shocked at all. Not even a little bit that it's
Well, then
outpaces
this
the
goes
Series
back
X.
to your argument earlier about how y'all don't even want the one with the disc drive out now.
Exactly.
So why would you even fucking care?
Point well made, Delvin.
Yeah.
On the games front, there's an entire roadmap for Bethesda released. Citing all
gotta be just sick and tired of these.
they gotta be
They gotta be
livid.
so
Pete
pissed.
Hines is just so fucking mad. He's like, imagine he just chopped his desk in half. He's like, I fucking hate it here.
You don't let us make our games for other systems, then you release our whole fucking roadmap. You're just fucking us here. Just fucking us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
So we already knew that an Oblivion remaster was coming, and that was on the leak. So that gives us credibility. Not that, I mean, this is all credible. This came from Microsoft. Fallout 3 remaster is on the list, and that we did not know about. And
No.
now that that's out there, they have to, like, if they honestly, let's say they moved away from that, they have to make it now, or people will never shut up about it.
Yeah.
At every showcase from here moving forward, you're going to hear the pundits and the leakers and everybody talking about Fallout 3 remaster. That's a big deal. A surprising idea that I think could possibly be changed is they listed a sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes.
Again, this is
Interesting.
from a couple years ago. I think perhaps, I'm not saying, I don't know, but I think there's maybe some room here where maybe that doesn't happen. I'm afraid, well, the point I'm trying to get at,
that's still going to happen.
I'm going to read more of this, but I'm afraid that people see this and they think those are absolutely 100% the games that I'm going to get from Bethesda moving forward. And I'm like, don't be so sure.
Right.
Like, this is an internal document that was never meant to be seen. Games get canceled and moved all the time. Shinji Mikami left Tango. Ghostwire Tokyo didn't particularly sell super well, and Hi-Fi Rush did. So, you know, like, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, if it never shows up,
take this leak as gospel.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop
Plans
the internet.
change, pal.
The internet will, though. Like, they already have. They will.
I hate that.
I welcome a sequel to Ghostwire
You
Tokyo.
should.
I like Ghostwire Tokyo. So
on PC.
yeah, on PC it was
It
incredible.
was not great on console.
And then they patch it. I think it got a lot better on
They
console.
patched it, but it still wasn't great.
I actually think it got pretty good. I thought they were doing
I
like
won't
their
find
ray
out.
tracing got 1,000 times better or something on PlayStation 5 or something. I thought that happened.
I won't find out. I'm not going back to that game.
I liked it.
Nobody. Yeah.
Dishonored 3 apparently
I
is in the
didn't.
works.
That's not surprising.
I didn't
Is it?
finish 2, so I don't know.
I
loved
kind
the
of think it
first
is
one.
a little surprising. I mean,
I expected it to.
most notably, I
Third
think
one.
it's surprising because of what's not on the list. Like Wolfenstein 3 is not on the list.
This is one of
Yeah.
those code names.
Unless it's one of the code names. But yeah, it could be one of the code names. There's a lot of code names on there that we don't know what they are.
Who's working on Indiana Jones?
Machine Games, Wolfenstein.
Because that was on the list.
Machine Games,
So that's probably why.
Wolfenstein Crew. Yeah. And then Doom Year Zero was listed, and that got me very excited. We've not known what it is doing. And according to this leak, barring the next time we get information, apparently they're working on Doom. Which is not a surprise, but, you know, a new Doom. And that's awesome. Can't wait.
Year Zero, so I'm assuming it's a prequel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Gotta be a prequel. So, yeah, that's Bethesda's apparent roadmap. There's a bunch of other code and project names and things like that as well. Dishonored is beloved, as Haley joins the chat. I mean, I don't mean Dishonored has a huge amount of fans.
Yeah.
I don't know, a huge amount of fans. Dishonored
good
has a
amount.
dedicated amount of fans.
Thank you. This is a nice dedicated fan.
But it
base. I
doesn't
don't think
sell
it sells
super
great.
well.
Yeah.
So I was kind of getting the impression.
Sells well enough.
You think?
I think it does. It does well.
Yeah, I
for
think it
a
sells well
game that's not.
It'd be a good
like-
Game Pass game for sure.
Yeah.
on Game Pass. Yeah.
I think.
The second one
I
was
mean,
on
like
Game
a new one, like a day and date Game Pass
new
game
one.
would be. I think that
Gotta
would get
get people
people to. Yeah, would get people in. Probably sell some Series
Pass.
S's.
You gotta wonder, does that mean it's only going to be on Xbox?
Yeah, it's only going to. All Bethesda's only going to be on Xbox. I think.
Fucking.
Yeah.
See that? Son of a bitch.
That's
you
right.
can get a
That's how the
Series
cookie
S.
crumbles.
You got a PC, man. You're good.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
A list of candidates for day one on Game Pass was shared with projections on how much it would cost. Now, other people have taken this and ran with it too. Again, this was an internal
Yes, they have.
document where they were spitballing how much they think it might cost. Now, I'm sure some of it might have been true, but not all of it. So if you just wanted to get an idea on the type of money that Xbox has been spending on Game Pass, I think this document is kind of revealing. So to have day one Jedi Survivor, they estimated would cost $300 million. Assassin's Creed Mirage, $100 million. Suicide Squad, $100 million. Boy, did they dodge a bullet on that. Mortal Kombat 1, $250 million. Lego Star Wars, $35 million. Dying Light 2, $50 million. And Baldur's Gate 3, they earmarked for $5 million, which would have been a bonus.
Steal.
Right.
Yeah.
Steal. What do you guys think about that?
They could have bought.
Is it surprising to you in any way?
$100 million.
I don't really pay enough attention to like the numbers and stuff to really have any opinion one way or the other.
Maybe they'll still put Suicide Squad on Game Pass. Maybe they're going to ink a deal for that.
Probably.
I mean,
Well,
if
let's
they
buy the
don't, it's-
studio.
Nobody's gonna play that shit, so probably a good idea.
There's that part.
I'm not really surprised. I think these numbers kind of were in line. Not that I could have guessed them all, but I would have been in the hundreds of millions of range if you had told me, like, hey, how much do you think
Yeah.
big first party game costs? I'd have been like, oh, yeah, it's going to $100 million. That's not cheap.
But I think Baldur's Gate is a little surprising, but still same thing.
I mean, they
Yeah.
earmarked
Considering
that,
how
so,
well it's doing.
Yeah. If people knew it was coming to Game Pass, how many people would have just held off versus
Sure.
buying it?
Sure. Was not even on
Yeah.
Xbox yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
Xbox is also expecting a current gen version of Red Dead Redemption 2 to release, and they also said it might cost $5 million a month to put Rockstar games in a Game Pass. That might
Jesus
explain
Christ.
why GTA will enter Game Pass for 4 weeks and out. like it comes and goes every so often. That might be why. Yeah, because they're like, no. We're not going to take your big check up front. You're just going to pay us as we go. That's interesting. So moving on to mergers and acquisitions, because this is like the story.
This is what got people pissed.
Emails regarding acquisitions were made public, specifically one from August 2020. A reply from Phil Spencer to Takeshi Nomoto, Microsoft's chief commercial marketing officer. I'm not going to read the email to you, but I'll give you context. Takeshi wrote Phil essentially talking about acquisition targets in a conversation that appeared to be sent. We don't have the full history of the conversation, or at least I didn't see it all. I didn't go through the briefs myself. This is from third-party reporting. It seemed to be in a conversation context centered around TikTok and other acquisitions that they're looking at being made. So there's several companies that were mentioned. If you guys, and I'm not sure if you guys don't remember, but there was a time where Microsoft was reportedly interested in obtaining TikTok.
I remember that.
So I think this makes sense and the timing makes sense. So the news is that in this email, Phil Spencer alluded to some of the following. Microsoft's board of directors was fully supportive of a potential purchase of Nintendo if the opportunity arose. Again, Takeshi was kind of talking like, what acquisitions could we like do to, move us forward, in which he mentioned Nintendo, and Phil responded. Phil acknowledged that Nintendo to be the prime gaming company in the industry and thinks that if Nintendo was to sell overseas, that Microsoft may be best positioned to buy. Phil also noted that Nintendo was sitting on enough cash that it didn't have to make deals. He said a large stockholder might push Nintendo towards making different sort of business decisions, but noted that Nintendo's board of directors haven't pushed for increases in market growth or stock appreciation. And the Nintendo Shack person in me that follows those calls can back that up. They're not we have to make 100% more than we did last. They don't give a shit about their board of directors. They're like, you're lucky you're here. We're going to do what we do. And you just vote. Like, it's kind of a formality on the Nintendo side.
Does what the fuck they want.
Sort of, yeah.
I appreciate them for it.
Yes.
The headline, though, is this Phil Spencer called "Getting Nintendo would be a career moment," and he said, "I honestly believe a good move for both parties." But he did add in the email something is being overlooked, is that he added in a whole paragraph that he did not think like a stockholder hostile takeover Nintendo would be a good idea. And in this email, he also mentioned that they were already in discussions with Warner Brothers as well as ZeniMax, which we ultimately know closed and then now own ZeniMax and Bethesda properties.
Yeah.
I have to get on my soapbox a little bit, and I'm not trying to like read this news and be the Xbox fan, but dude, it's coming from a Nintendo fan of me. The headlines that have been generated off this email are fucking ridiculous. Like the headlines are like,
agree.
Phil Spencer and Xbox are so desperate to buy Nintendo. They crushingly, can you believe? And the people, their vitriol is like, see, this is why they can't buy Activision. They would just want to buy the whole industry. None of that is what this the context of this email wasn't that at all. It was honestly the opposite. It was an employee asking about buying Nintendo, and Phil, in a very polite way, professional way, is saying, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people think Nintendo wants to be acquired or purchased in the first place.
That's the other part. People are like, can you believe Microsoft wants to buy Nintendo? I was like, we already knew that. We knew that 20 years ago they tried to buy Nintendo.
I think people are just kind of like just dreaming and wishing. There are some people and people are fearful. People don't see Microsoft buy Activision. They don't see them buy Bethesda. So just the thought of them buying Nintendo scares the shit out of people. Even if it's not true. Even if it's far-fetched, not going to happen. Just the thought of it. Just them saying Nintendo.
But this is where
people.
This is where the games enthusiast coverage, I don't know what you call it, whatever it is, the video game websites that write about video games, this is where like their need for, this has got a super clicky article, right? Like this is going to be a sticky article. It's going to get people's attention when you write those headlines. Those headlines are misleading. Like you're literally just being misled. If you were on Twitter this week or Reddit and you thought Xbox was buying Nintendo, then you thought wrong. That's not what this email said at all. And for the people that are taking it away, like I don't know what to tell you. I didn't really, we had a lot, dude, our Discord was pumping that morning and I just didn't get into it. Like I tried politely to respond. You know, there were several people who were like, I don't like this. This makes me uneasy. I'm like, just reread the email. Like read the email. The context of the email to me was clear.
D-Life, I got to tell you, if it was the other way around, if PlayStation was talking about buying Nintendo, people would be furious at that too.
I guarantee you that if PlayStation was dumb enough to upload their emails to the internet, I guarantee you could find a conversation where somebody talked about buying Nintendo. That's
definitely.
Yeah, like this is how this works. They work on that level. They are in that level. Yes. They're going to be talking about mergers and acquisitions, especially with the amount of consolidation that we've seen in the industry. Anybody that could afford to buy Nintendo has thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know why? Because they'd be a good fucking company to own. That's what they do.
Yeah, because it's Nintendo. It's Nintendo.
Yeah, of course you would. You'd be stupid not to. So, I don't think this story has been blown up because I think this is a crazy, wild story. I can't believe they leaked all this shit. But this part of the story, this part is completely overblown and just like fanboy flame to all hell. Like I don't get it. They're not buying Nintendo. Because Nintendo is not for sale. They're not buying Nintendo.
That's the most inflammatory. That's why.
Yeah. I just wish people would stop.
That's literally what it is.
Buy Nintendo thing. Nintendo ain't selling.
Yeah.
Like, they don't
not selling.
To.
Yes.
So just stop it.
Everything else you can kind of glaze over like, oh, that's cool. We're getting this game. We're getting this game. We're getting this console. But this part right here is the part like, nope, fuck that. We can argue about this part because this is where we see the problem at.
It's ridiculous.
Even though, like you said, it's a whole lot of nothing. It's just the thought of it, just the inkling of it is enough.
I'll shout out friend of the show, Jeff Grubb. He's honestly might be the only media games journo, enthusiast, influencer, whatever you call them, that I've seen even level-headed on this. Not that I follow a lot, but like I did follow the Reddit thread where all the articles are being posted. I've seen the headlines have been posted in our Discord and whatnot, and he's the only one that was like, guys, this is not a big deal at all. And it's not. It really isn't.
But
it's
like
not
I
a big
said,
deal.
Not even a little bit.
It's the whole idea of consolidation that has been preached on for years now, and people are terrified of video game companies consolidating. So when you even mention the idea of what one of the biggest video game companies consolidate with another big video game company, people are going to freak out.
Look at the
People
hell
just stop
that they
freaking
went
out
through
about that.
just trying to get Activision. You think they could
Right.
buy Nintendo?
Yeah.
Right.
That would never
Absolutely
happen.
People need to stop worrying so much
Yeah.
about the consolidation and start realizing that it's actually saving a lot of studios from going under.
Well, it went in the right hands. As I've always
Yes,
said,
correct.
Well,
I'd
not if
rather
you're,
Microsoft and Sony get it now. If Embracer gets your favorite studio,
Embracer, you're kind of
you might be a little fucked, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for. Again, I've said it 1,000 times. I honestly can't think of a better fit for Bethesda. Valve. It's Microsoft or Valve. Anybody else seems like a huge problem. Would you be happy if Bethesda was bought by EA? I wouldn't. Not even a little bit.
No.
Activision?
I don't want EA
Nope.
buying anybody.
Take-Two? No. NetEase? Epic? Nope.
Square Enix? Absolutely not.
Yeah, like you name any other company. To me, it literally
They can't
comes
handle
down
their own
to
goddamn companies
is
at this point.
Xbox and Valve. That's like the place where like Bethesda would be at home with. Like they're good there.
Yeah.
Okay, Phil did respond after like a full day. I was surprised that they didn't try to do anything. That they really just all this happened and they went a long time without like making rebuttal. He's going to have to address this at some point because they can't just walk out and start showing this controller, right? like all of their.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I
They
think
definitely can.
because here's the thing: if they never address it, and at the next E3 show they just talk about everything that's in this, then people are going to be angry. They're not going to be angry, but they're going to be let down.
Let them be let down. It's a damn.
I mean,
too bad.
I'm fine with that, but we know, dude, Xbox is not.
Ain't no
fine with
E3 anyway, so what difference does it make?
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Their show, their E3, whatever they want to call it. He said, we've seen the conversation around old emails and documents. It's hard to see our team's work shared in this way because so much has changed and there's so much to be excited about right now and in the future. We will share the real plans when we are ready. And he said an internal email
There you go.
that mostly said the same thing. And again, I just wanted to point out, plans change. 3 years ago, they were probably way in on the cloud. Now they've let Ubisoft take it. Things change a lot. They may have Activision in fold, soon. And they weren't mentioned in that email. Like 3 years ago, they probably didn't even think that was a possibility. And suddenly they're on the doorstep of owning Call of Duty. So things change. We have no idea how much of this still holds true. But it's out there. We got questions. Brian Eck from Carpool wrote me, and Sean, and he said, out of everything that is leaked from all of this, what excites you most about the future of Xbox? What has caught your eye that maybe isn't being talked about? Maybe it's what I see online, but my observation is that a lot of people are almost in a way rooting for Xbox to fail. And there's much more doom and gloom towards Microsoft, whether it be Game Pass, Starfield, or the future of cloud gaming. We've talked about this a bunch.
People hating on Microsoft wanting to fail since the beginning. That is
I
never
agree.
going to change.
I think that's the vocal minority. And
I
that
don't.
vocal minority is Sony fanboys. I don't think it's the majority.
It's not just Sony people. I know a ton of
Yeah, it's
Nintendo
not.
fans that hate Xbox too.
It's
I think it's
always been that
twofold.
way.
And we've talked about this, so I'll just reiterate this. Anybody that remember when these consoles launched, I think we got heavy into this at one point. I think two things Xbox has going against it, or maybe even three things. But the first thing is, they've never had like 360. They had a better chance, but for the most part, in their entire history, they've always been the outlier. They're third. They're in last place. We've seen that grow over the last decade, and the problem is that it doesn't matter what Xbox does good. The amount of people that are like trumpeting those good things are being drowned out by the amount of people that aren't. Like because PlayStation and Nintendo, we'll them together because they're so popular, right? It's just like too much counter reaction. So you just can't. It's like they're diluted. You can't outweigh them. It's throwing a rock at a wave, right? They're outnumbered. It's not close. But I think more importantly, and I think of the deeper meaning is that Xbox is an American company, and specifically Western. And video games, its entire industry has been built on mostly Japanese video game makers. And Nintendo has ties to the Japanese franchises that people grew up and known and love. And PlayStation has ties to the Japanese video games people grew up, known, and love. And Xbox doesn't. And I think for a lot of people, they look at Xbox as that company that makes games that they don't like. They don't make Final Fantasy. They don't have Chrono Trigger. They don't have Mario. They don't do Fire Emblem. That's not what they do. Which is why I've always said that I care little about what Xbox is doing globally. I don't think that's the fair way of like trying to measure them. If I were measuring Xbox like in the marketplace, I would focus on North America. How are you doing in North America? I still think they're third, but are you closer in North America? Everything else is like a bonus. If you can sell in the UK, if you can sell in Japan, if you can sell in Brazil, great. But like their only place where I feel like they have a level playing field is in North America. Everywhere else, I think they're rolling a rock up a hill. Like they're always like it's just I don't know, if privilege or an advantage or however you want to call it. Like it's just they don't stack up globally. I think those are huge parts, like conditionally, why people think and feel the way about Xbox that they do. And I don't think the Microsoft corporation look where they can buy things helps. And I think that's been noted because nobody gives a shit when Sony or Nintendo buy anything. Which they have. Nobody cares. Nobody cares when NetEase is buying everything. But when Microsoft does it, people see it as big tech. And if you want like an example of that, look at what happened when Google Stadia started having the even the sheer notion that they might buy a company. And that bothers people, especially in the West. We don't like big corporations owning things, taking things from us. Because I think it's because America is so capitalism driven. We kind of have like a resistance to that. And I think people are scared of that. I think you see that with Amazon, you see that with Netflix. People are scared of that being a thing. And to a lot of people, I think Microsoft personifies that. That's what they see in Microsoft.
Yep. I can't say any better than that. I mean, you basically hit on everything that I was going to say. So yeah. And then when you look at it globally, it's like the big American kind of come in and just throw his weight around, like you said, trying to buy stuff. So that also just 100%. That is never a good look globally. So it's Xbox and Microsoft are never going to be in a state where you have everybody rooting for them in the way you do in Nintendo or Sony. Plus, they don't have the history either. Nope. Maybe in 50 years, but I don't think we'll see it anytime soon.
He asked what excites us most about the future of Xbox. I will speak to that, and I will say that I believe in this philosophy and their path, and I have for some time, which is why I've been such a proponent of theirs. I believe in what they're doing. I think it is the future. I think their ability to welcome in more devices. I think they would love to be on competitor consoles if allowed. I think one day, if given a choice, if given the option, I think one day we will see Game Pass on a Switch or a PlayStation. I think that's where they want to be. I think their model is to reach the most people as possible to generate the revenue possible, surrounded by Game Pass. And that's like it's a philosophy I can get behind. Like it's something I can believe in. I like what they're doing with cloud and TVs and PCs and browsers. I want there to be multiple. I love what they're doing on the console market. Like I love what they're doing with their devices.
They're a software company and they want to put that software everywhere.
Yeah. I've loved this Windowsification of games. People, when they saw this, some people, when they saw this news, were like, we're not going to get like a Series X model, like an enhancement, a Pro model. And in my head, I'm like, dude, that's PC. If you want that, get a PC. I think that's what Xbox is thinking. If you want to spend more than $500 on something, buy a laptop or a PC, a tower, play games on that. Like that is their enhanced model. It's widely available. All the games are there. The Game Pass is there. It's all there. I love this. I love that I can pick up my Ally and play a game and literally drop it, turn on my Xbox, and press a button and pick up where I left off. I don't even have to do it. It is that. That's just the way it works. There's no like I don't have to sync saves or anything. Like it just does it. Everything just works. They have really cool stuff. I think they're like the way their approach to that, like how they do things, is something I like, and I wish other competitors did a lot of things like that. Like there's a quality of life experience in the Xbox ecosystem that, boy, Nintendo like doesn't even fucking come close to touching, man. Like you couldn't back up your Animal Crossing island. You couldn't transfer that shit for like years. You couldn't transfer it. Even when you did, you had to download an app from the store and set all this shit up like just to transfer. Like there was a lot of great things about Xbox. I love what they're doing with their gaming library. I've said it before. I think Call of Duty is right at home with Bethesda. I think them building their library around shooters and RPGs is a path forward to success for them. Because I do think with enough good games in those categories, they will win people over. Call of Duty and Wolfenstein and Doom and Gears, that will get people in the ecosystem. Even if they come begrudgingly, they will get people in the ecosystem. People will subscribe to Game Pass for those games. 100%. So I like what they're doing. That's why I'm excited about it. I don't want to talk. I know I'm reading the news. I always feel like when I'm reading the news and opining, I talk too much. So I apologize. Do you guys have anything that you're excited about with Xbox?
Delvin, you can go first. I got nothing.
Honestly speaking, I'm just excited Xbox is still out here kicking and doing its thing. Other companies have come and gone trying to do things, and the fact that Xbox is still out here trying to make this a thing is dope. I always am going to root for competition. Like, the more companies out there vying for our dollars, the better for us. So, the fact that Xbox is still doing this thing and we still have PlayStation thriving and we still have Nintendo, I'm happy. Like, I'm the guy who still misses Sega. Like, I wish Sega was still out there making consoles and stuff like that. So I'm always going to root for Xbox no matter what. It's not about like Sony. I love Nintendo. No, I want all three systems to be successful in their own right. That's how I always looked at it. So
I think our listeners in our community knows that we just love video games, and
above anything else.
Yeah, I think if given the option, we would have access to everything if the games were there that we wanted to play. There were games, if they released a bunch of games that you wanted to play, you would get Game Pass.
That's what I was going to say. For me, I don't give a shit where the game is. I don't care which system is on.
Just like if PlayStation was releasing a bunch of games that I wanted to play, I would have PlayStation.
Yeah,
100%.
I just want to play games that I find interesting. Xbox just typically doesn't make those games. Neither does Nintendo. Sony just happens to make the games that I particularly like the most, and that's why I have a PlayStation. And for anything third party, a PC, because consoles suck.
Yep.
That's
PlayStation wants to release some damn Infamouses and Killzones and shit. I'll be right there. I am back, baby. 6 foot tower or no, I will be there. Free to play Joe says, feel free to use this on PSVG or Shaq. I'll probably ask both just so you can get Rebecca's take. How do you think Nintendo feels about being mentioned in all this news surrounding the Xbox leak? Do you think they might pull away from working so close to Xbox as they have in the recent years?
I don't think they care.
You know that meme.
They didn't say anything negative about Nintendo.
Who is it that's just like laughing his ass off? I feel like that's Nintendo. They're just laughing like, we're not selling. Yeah. What are you talking about? We're just going to laugh our way all the way to the bank sitting on our pile of cash.
My answer is that I don't think Nintendo's surprised that another corporation with billions of dollars would like to buy them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're upset that the email leaked. I think they already knew that Microsoft wants to buy them. I think they've probably known for some time, decades. I think there's probably been multiple overtures. I would imagine it goes something like this. Phil Spencer meets with Nintendo and he's like, we're going to put Minecraft Dungeons on your system. And they're like, that's great. That's awesome. We love it. He's like, and if you ever want to, get the bag, like we're interested. And they're like, we'll let you know.
Let me slide Game Pass on in there. If you ever want to.
I mean, we had the report. There was a report and I wish I had written it down. You probably wouldn't have to try very hard to find it. But there was a report that it didn't come in the FTC trial that Nintendo was stoked to be getting Call of Duty again, and that's why they were backing Microsoft. They're like, fucking yeah. So honestly, I don't think Nintendo gives a shit as long as they get Call of Duty. I think that's probably all they care about right now.
Yes.
With regards to Xbox, is do we get Call of Duty on our next handheld? And as long as that happens, I think they're happy to work with Microsoft because that's going to make both of them a shit ton of money. Both of them are going to make
a Nintendo very happy.
A lot of money. Yeah, the board of directors is going to love that little percentage boost in revenue. They're going to get 30% of all. Basically, they'll essentially get 30% of all portable sales in Call of Duty. That's insane.
Hopefully, they don't play like Mortal Kombat 1 does.
Well, it's a whole separate thing. Yarden says, why is Microsoft so bad at business? Seems like almost every blunder Xbox has experienced recently is self-inflicted. Basically, I'm asking, how do you accidentally leak your entire company's plans for the next half decade? I love you, Xbox, but they make it difficult.
Easy. They just did it. Just do it, like Nike says.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, they didn't do it, right? Microsoft's a giant corporation. These were filings to a court. I'm sure some paralegal on the legal team did it. And it's an oversight. It's a bad oversight, but like, is there any way that Xbox had some sort of way to stop this from happening? I would bet large amounts of money that they had no idea. Nobody on the entire team probably had no idea. So
yeah,
it just sucks.
Let's keep it 100. Every year, Assassin's Creed gets leaked out in a similar way.
This is what I talked to you about leaks.
Open.
Yeah.
like, I was on a plane and I saw the whole Assassin's Creed game. You're like, what?
My wife's a paralegal.
This is the thing.
So I feel like, and I'm speaking this just from like hearing her talk about how chaotic and hectic court briefs and appointments and lawyers and cases and shit are. I guarantee you that the person that did this had no idea. Like, it's just an oversight. Like, they didn't check the link. They probably had no idea that there's millions of people out there that care so much that they're like clicking on every single thing they can find regarding the company in this case, looking for morsels of information. They probably thought, I'm filing this brief. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to get to the weekend, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I think it sucks. I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm interested in the news. Leaks happen. We cover them because it's a part of the gaming business. I'm interested in news. I think it's crazy that all this stuff leaked. I do think it sucks that it leaked in this way. You know, this isn't like an industry insider that got a tip from a dev or something. To have this put out on blast feels wrong. You know, I almost feel bad for the Xbox team. It's like, they didn't deserve this. This isn't fair. I would have felt the same way if PlayStation did the same thing. Like, that's not cool. We shouldn't be doing it like this. It's just unfortunate. Unfortunate is the better word. It's just unfortunate it happened like this. I'm still excited for the news and the hardware and the software. Like, all that sounds great. But it's a bummer. And I do think they will have to talk about it. I think they'll have to go on a podcast or whatever. They have to get ahead of it. I don't think they can just show up at Games Awards and be like, here's our controller. It was be like, fuck, we know. You know, like there is that kind of, like, I think they just acknowledge it. You know, like just one of those, like tongue in cheek, just acknowledge. Like, I know many of you have probably already seen this, but we're real excited about it. So, like, something to take the edge off when they do it, I think would be wise.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the news on the Xbox leak. What a wild story. Again, the FTC versus Xbox thing continues. Like, we thought we were done, and like the story continues.
Back in.
Speaking of Game Pass, you can play Party Animals now. Payday 3 tomorrow. Cocoon is out next week on the 29th. I'm very excited. And in some surprise, they'll be followed by Gotham Knights coming to Game Pass on October 3rd, as well as the Lamplighters League, which sounds as bad as it sounded when I read that. So Gotham Knights is coming to Game Pass on the 3rd. I will try it for free. Why not?
There you go.
I don't know if I'll like it. Probably not.
Probably not.
I was never interested to begin with, but will I try it? Sure. Have they fixed it? Is it better?
I didn't try.
There's been patches.
Killed me from playing the game ever again.
They patched the shit out. I'm sure once they're like, here's Robin. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like it's probably gonna be like as soon as the game starts, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This is the game where you don't get to play Batman. What a great idea. Thanks,
that
guys.
Is correct. you don't.
What's the meme?
You pick who you want to play at the beginning.
Be whatever you want to be. Unless you can be Batman, then be Batman. Why didn't Gotham Knights get the meme? Like, okay, guys, you make Batman. Let us be Batman. That's what we want to be.
No, you can
Nobody
be
wants to be a
Batgirl.
side character. It's a fucking side piece. He's an extra.
How about Red Hood?
Who?
Would be Red Hood. Exactly.
Terrible. Kind of bummer news. I think this is bummer news. EA, Mr. Vince Zampella, alerted the media today that Criterion will be folded in to the teams working on Battlefield. Zampella in the note says there's a future for Need for Speed, but he also leads the story by saying, but we're all in on Battlefield.
Well, get all back out because that shit sucks. Everybody who's all in, walk out. Leave.
It's interesting because
No more.
he says there's a future for Need for Speed, but all of their racing franchises and developers are in the EA Sports division. They've moved Criterion over to the EA Entertainment division, where they do Star Wars and Battlefield. The EA Sports division is like where Codemasters are, so F1 and Grid and that sort of thing. So in my head, I was like, would Codemasters do a Need for Speed game? Like, would they let them with the
That could be
property?
interesting.
Codemasters is pretty incredible. They release like 2 games a year. Not sure if anybody knows. They release like F1 and then Grid, and they always have like an off year and like a spin-off game. Like, I don't know if they can. Maybe they would alternate between like Grid and Need for Speed games. Criterion has worked on Battlefield before. They do a lot of the vehicles and stuff in Battlefield anyway. It just feels like they're now like, again, this is like the Activision thing, the Call of Duty thing, where everybody just gets sent to the salt mines to work on, the face that runs the place.
Battlefield hasn't been good in a minute. Like it's just not.
So
no,
the interesting
please stop.
part is, I think Battlefield fans see this as a good move. They like the content that Criterion makes in Battlefield. They're like, this is great. More of that. But then Criterion fans, like Need for Speed, see this as a terrible move. Like they're shutting the studio down and they're not going to get any more of the games they like. So it's interesting. I think if the next Battlefield hits and they get Battlefield back on track, I think this is a net positive. Like, yeah, it sucks that Need for Speed isn't there, but they make other racing games. You can play other racing games. If they can get Battlefield going again, I think that's more important. Like, if they can help make Battlefield great again, pardon the terminology, like, I think that's wise. Because, like, EA is going to continue to suffer at a larger level if they can't get Battlefield right. It's a big part of, like, their portfolio.
That's true.
They got to get that shit fixed. Like, it's kind of like, you can't make Crash games if Call of Duty sucks. Like, it's the reason we're all here. So let's get Call of Duty back in line, and then maybe we'll talk about you making a Crash game or some special shit. But, like, we got to do the Call of Duty thing first. So, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'm optimistic that maybe this is a net positive. And I didn't care too much for the last Need for Speed game anyway.
Yep.
Just make Battlefield.
Yeah,
That's
they will.
Different.
Yeah, it's a different thing, but they will. Some quick headlines. Evil Dead, the game, is canceled. The Switch version is no longer making content for the game. Surprising nobody.
No shot.
Not even a little bit. Bit Trip Rerunner. I already talked about that in the games I'm playing, so I won't read that.
Yes.
Striking Distance Studios, the studio that makes Callisto Protocol, is losing its CEO and founder and former Dead Space co-creator Glenn Schofield. He's leaving the company, as well as their CFO and their COO. And this news comes on the heels of the studio laying off more than 30 people in the last 90 days.
Who's left?
Jeez.
Callisto did not. Again, we bring this up all the time. We talk about consolidation, right? And what do I say? These studios can't afford to miss at the AAA level. You can have a couple misses at the indie level. Like, it may hurt, but you can make it work. AAA level, you miss, people get flared.
Yeah. The CEO and the CFO is gone. Like, who's funding the company?
And 30 employees got laid off. Like,
Yeah, they're just hiring from within. Somebody else brought in. Yeah.
Who's making games? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just
I'm going to be
that
surprised
company
if
they're about to go under.
Speaking of layoffs, not to continue with the bummer news, Embracer continues to let go of staff. Coming off the heels of them just closing Volition, they're now doing layoffs at both Beamdog, which people know for the Baldur's Gate ports, but most recently they just released MythForce like last week. So that studio is getting layoffs, as well as Crystal Dynamics are having employees being laid off.
Damn.
And I think a lot of Embracer will be laid off. Like their new CEO or whatever that got put in charge, that was his thing. We've got to become lighter weight and more flexible, and all of these are code names for we have to cut costs. We're spending more money than we're making. So I think they'll have more costs. It'd be interesting to see how this affects Perfect Dark, because we know Crystal Dynamics is hard at work on a Tomb Raider game. It's being published by Amazon. So I can't imagine this comes as good news to either Amazon or Microsoft. They're like, hey, probably paid you a lot of money to make our games. And yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. Who knows? I don't know if this means...
Not good.
I'm not expecting to see Perfect Dark like anytime soon. So maybe this means it'll be even longer than that. And this is a reminder that Cyberpunk 2077 2.0 update will go live tomorrow. They have a red stream scheduled. I would imagine the update will go live during that red stream. A lot of people said it was going to go live at midnight. I don't think that's true. I don't think it's going to go live at midnight. Maybe it will, but I don't think it's going to go live at midnight. I think they'll do it tomorrow in their stream. Their stream's at 10 a.m. My time, Eastern Standard Time. So, probably before tomorrow noon, it'll probably be available. And that Phantom Liberty will drop on the 26th of next week. And I should also mention the Phantom Liberty, I guess, is getting reviewed. We were talking about that last week. I didn't think it was going to get reviewed, but it got reviewed. Yes. And everybody loves it. Apparently, reviews are super high.
Yes, reviewing very high.
Yep.
I think it's at a 90.
They've turned Cyberpunk around. What a good story.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. As I've said all year, this is my game. Like Cyberpunk, update, patch, new expansion. For me, this is like what I think Spider-Man is for you. This is the game I've had circled on my calendar like all year. I'm starting a brand new save, which they recommend that people do. I'm literally starting the game completely over, and I'm going to play the whole damn thing again.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I got to put my disc back in the drive and do all the updates and stuff like that and get ready for it.
Apparently the expansion is like 30 hours.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah.
That's insane. That's not an expansion. It's a second game. That's a whole other game. I wonder how long I have to play before I get to the expansion.
That's a good question.
I wonder if it's playable from the start or not, or if you'd even want to play it from the start. And I don't even care. Like, I'm just excited to replay Cyberpunk. I love this game. Might be, I don't think it's like my favorite RPG ever. I think it's still Valhalla over Cyberpunk, but like it's close. I really, really love playing this game and I'm excited to get back to it.
I like Cyberpunk a lot. I played it when it wasn't at its best, so that says a lot.
Yeah. So, Dev dropped out. Is it time for him to go?
No, he had a power spike. He said he'll be back in a second.
Okay. Well, it's close to his heart out anyway. So I'll do the Rude Day segment. Point totals. Delvin in the lead with 20. I have 18. Dev has 17. So our first question comes over or under 82.5 for Assassin's Creed Mirage. Valhalla had an 80.
I'll go. You know what? What the hell? I'll go over.
Yeah, I'm going over too. So I won't pick up any points on that. I think the return to form is going to make a lot of people like kind of sentimental and willing to give a better score. I can already I feel like I can guess. I will guess the review taglines, right? It'll be like some sort of Assassin's Creed returns to form and Assassin's Creed brings back what people loved about it. Assassin's Creed, gets back to knowing how good Assassin's Creed was. And I think the reviews
gets back to its roots.
Yeah, I think it'll those will be the review taglines, and I think it'll get reviewed pretty well. Dev, over under 82.5 for Mirage.
What did Delvin pick?
We both took the over.
Me and Donnie picked the over.
Yeah, gotta go with the over too.
Over under 86.5 for Forza Motorsport. Motorsport 7 received an 86.
Now that's tough.
I'm picking the opposite wherever you picked, Delvin.
You know what then? Fuck it, I'll go over on this one too.
I'll take the under. I think you might be right on the over. I think people are going to be very excited, but I also think it could be like right in the middle there. I think Metacritic wise, it might be like
Definitely
85. So I'll take the
Yeah,
under. I'll try to pick up a
thinking too.
point.
I'm gonna go a little bit above it, like 80.
These counter
like 87,
these counter
maybe.
picks are killing me, but there's only one way to move forward. If we keep guessing the same thing, I ain't got a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over as well, just because I feel like it's time. I feel like it's gonna get like an 88.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
True or false? A new Castlevania game will appear at the Xbox Tokyo Game Show next week. Known leaker Billabong Kun teased this.
I want it to be, so I'm gonna say true.
Okay, I'm gonna say false.
I'm going with false also.
I think it could be like some sort of Netflix adaptation. It could be a controller or something. I mean, it's possible. We've heard that there is a Castlevania game in the works somewhere.
Let me ask a question. If it's a remaster or a remake of a game, does that count?
It says a new Castlevania game.
New.
So that's be a new Castlevania game.
If it's a
what the
remake, I think that
question
would
says.
count. If it's a remaster or re-release, that wouldn't count. But if it's like a remake, I think that
I
counts.
think it might be a remake of something. That's what
Okay.
I'm trying. That's what I'm.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
Shadows of the
so I'll
Dome.
stick with my point of. Yeah, something like that. Something.
Okay. And with that, Dev, that's the news.
All right, let's get into a couple of questions before I gotta go and hand it back off to you guys.
All right,
So,
let's
Eric-
get to it.
We'll go with Gross. I don't want to say Eric Gross. That could be your name. I don't know. He says, with Apple's recent move in the video game market, what will mobile gaming look like in 5 years? I have no idea. I don't care about mobile gaming. I hope it all goes
Same
away.
way it looks now.
Yeah, I feel like it'll
Untouchable by me.
Yeah.
I think as
Daniel
Not
will be there
touched
for
by
it.
me.
I think as years progress and we become more used to things like streaming and hardware advancements, I think the console and mobile game will continue to merge in ways that look
That is the answer.
mostly the same. I think the Switch will be like the bridge, like the Switch 2 will be like the bridge between the two. But I think we'll see more and more releases that happen on consoles scaled down to mobile type releases, as well as the adoption of cloud. And I think we'll start to see, like, I think in 5 years' time, if you tell me that like you have the Apple TV 9 or whatever, and that's your games console, like I could see it.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree with that.
It'll just be a low level game console, but like it'll
And
still
I'll
be able to
continue
play
tell you
most
that
of the
shit
games.
sucks, and I'll sit here at my desk and play my PC and my console.
Sure, I'll be doing the same, but I think
Fucking handheld.
that'll be a thing.
Shit out of here.
Pick a question that you want, Dev. Pick something that you can answer. Mainly a sports question, probably.
Do
Go ahead
Dion.
and get the Dion stuff out the way.
Yeah.
John
prime
32
time.
says, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on Deion Sanders' coaching accomplishments? Which other primetime players do you think should enter the coaching for the entertainment value? I'm going to answer the back half of that. None. You don't, not for entertainment value. Like that, I don't even, that's just stupid.
I know what he means by
wouldn't-
that.
Yeah, I know what he means by it as well.
Yeah,
I
he doesn't mean entertaining, but that will be entertaining to watch.
That would like be able to
follow the
cross
story.
over and gain appeal, gain
Yeah, no.
notoriety
I-
because
I
of
know.
their star.
I don't want to say that. Like Michael Irvin as a coach, absolutely not. Like
Or
that
LeBron.
just
Oh, I
sounds
want to see
terrible.
that.
Well,
That
LeBron.
sounds awesome.
I can see LeBron coaching.
I don't want to see LeBron as a coach either. And it's
Would-
not even
would he
the
be
same type
entertaining,
of
though, as a
entertainment.
coach?
Like he's not entertaining.
No, but I think everybody would want to play for him. And I think in a collegiate space, he could absolutely dominate.
He didn't even play in college.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
Why are you here, LeBron?
I
You
don't
didn't
think he
even play
will.
in
I don't
college.
think he
How you
will,
gonna
but
tell me this?
I'm just trying to like, if there was a Dion-like figure, I think like something like him, Steph maybe. Like I could see a guy like that going to
I
a
don't
college
think there's
like UCLA or whatever, and just every 5-star recruit being like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna go play with LeBron for a year," and then they just fucking dominate like the damn Monstars. They have like 18 5-stars on the roster, you know, because especially like LeBron,
that's
like
not
he coaches his
entertainment value.
kids. He's got his AAU shit. Like I could see it.
yeah, but it's not the same because when you look at the entertainment value that Dion brings, Dion is just a character.
Oh yeah,
Like you
that's
don't
true.
you don't have
And
there
he's one of
aren't
the greatest
anybody.
ever.
Yeah, there aren't too many
You
characters
need somebody
like
who
that
on that
can
level.
also coach.
Oh yeah, there's not a
and
whole
have
lot
that
of
ability.
characters on the level of Deion
Yeah.
Sanders.
You need somebody who's elite level
Shaq.
and entertaining. Shaq
But
would be
he's not.
good. That's a good choice.
But he's not coaching. He's not
Shaq
doing
ain't
that
coaching
shit.
nobody. Like he doesn't
he ain't
have.
doing
yeah. Yeah.
That's why he's on Inside the NBA.
That's
the
why I said
characters
Michael
you end
Irvin.
up
Michael
seeing
Irvin.
on. Yeah, he ain't
I
coaching
don't think
nobody.
Irvin
really.
can do
Michael Irvin's elite level and he's entertaining. I think
Tom
he can
Brady.
do
I
that.
can see Tom Brady coaching.
No.
Is Tom Brady entertaining?
But he's not entertaining.
Okay. think
It's
it's
like
pretty entertaining.
again, like prime. Like he calls.
Well, I mean,
himself
I'm not trying.
prime.
There is no answer. There is nobody like him. Michael Irving isn't Deion Sanders. Not even a
That's
little
what I'm
bit.
saying.
Yeah, you need,
And that's
So like
why
if
my
the
answer to that
if
is
no
there's
answer
nobody.
fits, because like I'm just thinking
there's
of
only
like
one Deion Sanders, frankly speaking.
yeah, there is no Deion Sanders. He's just that's why
Yeah.
that's why he's Deion Sanders.
Coach Prime. Now, as
I'll
far
talk
as
to the
my
first
thoughts
one.
on, like his coaching accomplishments, I don't follow college football enough. I think it's great that he's managed to completely take a team, gut the entire team, have almost all new players, and somehow find more success than what he was supposed to. I think that's pretty cool.
And that's why
I think it's
he's
cool
captain.
he's inspiring people. He's making people care about that team.
I mean, he was at
Bringing
Jackson State,
notoriety
too.
to school. So that's cool. Yeah.
I
think that's dope.
I am happy that he's resurrected the Colorado program, a once great program that has basically sucked for 25 years. People don't remember Colorado used to be great. Like they
Yeah,
have a national
he had the
championship. They used to be
rock
fucking
there.
awesome.
He got The Rock to come there.
Mm-hmm.
WWE couldn't even get The Rock to come there.
Well, I mean,
crazy.
that's why he was there.
WWE?
Because that's why he was there. Because he was doing the WWE appearance.
I was about to say he was just
No,
at
it was the other
WWE
thing. It was the other way
No.
around. He was
No, it
there,
wasn't
and
the other
WWE
way
asked him.
around.
If I'm yes, it was.
it's
If I remember, if I read correctly,
I don't think you read that
He was
correctly. I don't think
there.
that's the case. I think he was going to make his appearance in the WWE show, and Fox paid him to make an appearance at Game Day, and he just happened to want to also shake hands with Deion Sanders. You can give him credit for that if you want, but I don't think that's true.
I think it's the latter. I think it's the opposite.
Okay, I
Because
don't think that's
him
I
and
don't think
Deion
that's
are
true. at all.
friends.
Yeah, but friends, he's not going to then go to College Game Day and do WWE because he's friends with Deion Sanders. I don't think that's true at all.
You'd be surprised.
No, I don't think so. I think that is a story that's like better on social media than the actual truth. But I don't think that's really the case. As for his accomplishments, he's got 2 SWAC titles. I don't want to knock a coach for having access to great talent because that's a part of being a coach. The lifeblood of a college football team is recruiting, and you can't say that he had it easy. He did have an advantage because of his fame, because of his son, because of their friends. He had a talent advantage over everybody else. You still got to go win the games, and they did. I think what Deion does is I think his greatest attribute, and this is a thing that all great coaches do, so I will give him credit for it, is he knows how to surround himself with successful people. The Toledo coach that he got to come be his offensive coordinator is great. And it'd be interesting to see if he gets a better job offers coming next year after what he's showing he can do with Colorado. Deion got the #1 recruit in the country to come to a SWAC school and play football. That's insane. Like, that's unheard of. Like, there's no other SWAC coach that can even come close to being able to compete with that level. So as an accomplishment as a coach, he has accomplishments, but the question will be when he gets into an arena where talent is like, can he make a difference? Because that's really what truly separates great coaches. When you get on the big stage, everybody has talent. So when your talent is equal to everybody else, then what will you do? I think they're running into a buzzsaw, unfortunately. I think Oregon's going to stomp Colorado. I just don't think they're equipped to play with that on that level yet. It's not even like, it's not Shador or Hunter who's hurt, which is unfortunate. Their offensive defensive lines are going to get manhandled, like absolutely rochambeaued by Oregon. Oregon has a huge offensive line and they power on the ball, and it's not going to be pretty, I don't think. We'll see. But I do think the thing that matters is that, like, he, as his fame and his persona, will attract talent to Colorado that would never consider it. And when he was interviewing for jobs, I thought it was like insane that Auburn didn't hire him. Because I think if he ever gets to a blue chip job where like they aren't coming just for him, they also want to come to the school, then I think watch out. Because I think he actually can start. I think at that level, he might be able to out talent people. Like Deion Sanders at Auburn could out talent Alabama. And that's a wild fucking thing to say. But I think it's true. And I think people are scared of that. I think it's very like a big disruptor in college. But again, he still needs coordinators and other coaches to do it, because as a coach, him like actually calling the game, I think the verdict's still out. We've got to see him in adversity, which he really hasn't had a name because of talent. But again, that's not a knock for him. I think people would say that as a knock. Every good coach needs talent. Your ability to attract talent is a part of being a coach. You know, who's the dude at Kentucky? Is the coach there?
Calipari,
like that's his greatest talent. It's attracting. Like as a coach, not that great, but he gets people to play for him. That's important. Mm-hmm. That's the most important part. So Deion has the hardest part down. So I think he can be a very successful coach because of that reason.
Indeed.
There you go.
All right. This will be my last question before I bounce out and hand it off to you guys. Just to piss off Delvin, we're going to ask Barrett's question.
Motherfucker.
Justice for Barrett.
Justice
He's
for
bad.
He says, what is your favorite gen of PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo hardware, and why? I think my favorite gen for Nintendo is just the Super Nintendo. I just have a lot of memories there.
I was going to say that.
A lot of just really good games there. Just very fond of the SNES. I don't have a favorite gen of Xbox. I don't play Xbox, so there's nothing there. And for PlayStation, probably PS2. Same reason. A lot of nostalgia there. A lot of games that I just remember spending time with. I think that was a lot of college for me. PS2 was college, so I had just time to play a lot of games. So very nostalgia. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 3, like, that was huge.
Killer.
NBA Street Volume 2, like they're Beyond Good and Evil, Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, there's just a lot of games on that system that have a lot of nostalgia that I just played a lot of. So those are my three.
Mine would be.
I'm going to say, you go first, Don.
Mine would be the PlayStation 4. I think they just dominated that generation. I think they had just a slew of great video games to offer. And I think it's an era that's going to be missed because of the things that we've seen, like with their, with things that Sean Layden was saying. Like, it's getting harder and harder and harder and longer and more expensive to make those level video games. And I think we're going to grow to appreciate a time where they just cranked out so many in an 8-year period. And then moving forward, if they get longer out, they become a little different. Like, I think people are going to be like, man, I kind of miss how great the PS4 was. They really destroyed it. Everything, consoles, controllers, OS, games, like they had it all. Like they really were firing on all fronts during that generation. Xbox would definitely be the 360 for the same reasons. I think that was their best time, my favorite time for Xbox. I think the console was great. I think the system was great, but mostly Gears and Fable, which are the things that made me a Fable or an Xbox fan today. Like, so I can't pick another generation than that one. Nintendo's the hard one. My heart wants to say Wii U. My head thinks that's completely wrong because of all the failures and everything that was. But people that have known me and listened to me for a long time know how much I love that console. And I did. I absolutely fucking adored that console. And for years, I hated that it felt like just nobody else got it. Like I couldn't show that love to enough people. I just always felt like if I could put it in your hands, like people would like it because it was doing something. Like that's like the crazy thing when I think of like people are like, oh man, what if Xbox bought Nintendo? Like I would hate for that to happen because then there's no Wii U. There's probably no 3DS. I think Xbox is too normal and too like feedback driven to go out on a limb and do some crazy shit like that. And the Wii U was like the epitome of crazy shit. And more importantly, the games were excellent. And you only need to look at the Switch's sales to know how excellent they were. Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, Mario Bros. U, Mario 3D World, like all these games that people think of Switch games, they weren't Switch games. We played them all years ahead of you on Wii U, and they were great then. Pikmin 3, like that's the thing. Smash Brothers. We were telling everybody, like, dude, like these are great games.
But those games all existed on every other Nintendo console.
No, these were different.
It's the same.
And ultimately, my beloved Wii U, my beloved Wind Waker got that HD treatment, which was just fucking epic. Like, it was so good. I love it. I love the console. And again, I know how crazy that is to say, because it's like a huge stain on them. But
hey, it didn't say what was the best. It just said what was your favorite. That's all that matters.
It's like the bones are weird, but I mean, and I could go on and on for like the indie games that I play. Like, I'm playing Bit Trip Rerunner today because of the Wii U, because I played Bit Trip Runner 2.
I still have no idea what that game is. I saw that, I was like, what the hell is Bit Trip Runner?
I gotta find out. Do you guys listen to Married to the Games?
Yeah. I'm waiting for Chris to
I was going to ask,
like,
tell me if he talks about it, because I will download the episode and listen to it. Like, ask him if he's playing it.
He's got to.
When I saw it, the only other person I know that likes Runner, like I like Runner, is Chris McCracken. And I was like, I hope he saw this news. I hope he's going to do it.
Game. I imagine he will. Well, you know what? No, he doesn't have a PC. He has a Mac.
That's what I was wondering. Like, does he have a Steam Deck or something? Is he going to play it?
Nope.
Nah.
Damn, that's a bummer. Because I'm liking it. It's pretty good.
There you go.
It's tough. But of course it's tough. It's always been tough. Yeah, those would be my 3.
Since you guys have already taken all my choices,
No,
I will go.
Pick
You
your
can still have your
favorites.
own choices.
Just
Yeah,
pick
you
your
can have your own
favorites.
I'm gonna pick my choices because this is easy for me. NES, because I love the NES console. I love the quirky games, the amount of games
egregious.
that came on it. Just
NES was
just
great. It was hard.
hours
to pick
and hours
between
of
the two
play.
I just want to do like
NES
the
just
semi-pro foul. 2 fouls.
NES just such a great console. Just so much fun to play. It is kind of just the essence of just like playing a system just for fun and enjoying like the little things about it, like playing Tecmo Bowl all day long and not even thinking about the time. Just that playing Super Mario Brothers 3, beating it and then going back over it again, or playing Contra and knowing to go up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, BA. Mike Tyson Punch Out. So many games that it just bring back nostalgia, just off rip that I can play like right now and still enjoy. All right. I was originally going to say PS4, but I'm going to say PS3. And I'm going to tell you why. I love playing the Mass Effect games on there. The Uncharted trilogy is there that I love. So many games I remember from PS3 that were just so great. And on top of that, it was
Last
so
of Us.
much random shit you could do with the PS3. Last of Us. Just so much random shit you could do with the PS3.
There was,
like
man. They had the move controllers and the eye camera.
the
And
move
like, it was
controllers,
fucking wild.
eye cameras. Not only that, but you could just like download movies and just put them on your PS3 to watch them. Like
Music.
download like songs, music, and stuff like
PlayStation
that.
Home.
You could do whatever the fuck you wanted to. PlayStation Home. It was just so much stuff they let you do with it, except like backwards compatibility. They let you do everything else.
They had that too.
Backwards compatibility was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't for later models, if I remember correctly.
No, it
Only
wasn't.
the old.
You needed the piano.
I still have.
Yeah.
I still have that big
Yes.
old brick. It still works.
It's a fucking massive
Yes,
console, man.
mine didn't.
That generation
Mine
is
didn't have
crazy.
that compatibility.
Like from where it started to where it
You
ended
could put
is
Linux on that thing
Yeah.
and have it as a PC.
true.
Yes, there's so much random shit you can do, like download your own custom themes and stuff like that.
It also came at the age of Blu-ray,
So-
like that. You know, that was a whole different thing when you could play
Buying
Blu-rays.
Blu-ray movies. It was just such a unique time, I guess. I loved my PS3. It was expensive
Still
as
hate
hell
the
for the
still
time.
hate the OS. It just got
OS.
Convoluted and like had all the different like entertainment sections and apps and like the settings menu on that thing was
And you have
Man.
to scroll
It was a-
down like
yeah,
for
it was
30
a
minutes
mess.
to find your game.
just a mess of a thing. But
Yeah, I download like 1,000 movies, but let me scroll down this long ass list of my movies to see which
yeah,
ones.
you try to
where it's
change
at.
a theme
Yeah.
or like pair it to a new network, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I had to make like folders for everything so I could find shit easier.
Yeah.
Y'all
But
got
that
too
was-
much
that
shit.
was just the era.
I had those problems.
You remember
I had
you
a
like
whole bunch of shit on my
you would
PS3.
download the game and it would put it on your OS, but then you would have to install it.
Install it. Yep.
So you have
Yes.
to click it again and wait like another hour.
It's so great. And then for Nintendo, I said Nintendo. I guess for Xbox, I will
Couldn't you
go.
download? Sorry to interrupt you. But couldn't you download like your PSP games to it and then
Download
transfer
Yes,
it?
you could.
and then transfer them.
You had to download them to the system, then transfer, hook up your PSP to
Video
transfer.
games
it
are crazy.
to-
Like they used to be just insane.
Yeah. Just a bunch of random shit. Like
Now
they
they're-
had what is called transferring.
Now they're perfectly refined, like little entertainment boxes, but they used to just be like just
Yeah.
shit, man. Like just
Had to go
all
through
kinds of
everything to get one thing to work. Yeah.
stuff. Plus, they
That
used
was
to be
the
like
era.
the way we watched Netflix, right? Like your game console was like a gateway drug to all that.
Yep.
Yep.
I guess in terms of Xbox, I wanted to say 360 because of the Xbox Live stuff. It was so much cool Xbox Live stuff on there.
Mm-hmm. Live
Did you
arcade.
play online back then, Delvin?
No, I'm not even talking about online in general. I'm talking about like the games that would come on there, just like
Yeah,
straight
that's
up
what I was
games
thinking.
like that
Live
would
arcade,
come.
Braid, Castle Crashers,
like,
Fez.
All
Yeah.
outside of
A lot of
my
cool
house.
stuff.
My
What was
cat
the
is
game?
biting me? Stop biting
The
me.
side-scrolling action game.
How's it
The
biting
guy
me?
like Nathan Drake.
Huh?
That was on 360. The side-scrolling action game. The guy literally looked like Nathan Drake. I can't remember the name of it. It was popular for Xbox 360. You have to
think I
save
know
your
what you're
girlfriend or
talking
some
about.
shit like that. I'll tell you the
Sounds
name
like
of it
Double
right now.
Dragon to me.
No, it's a,
On 360. Side-scrolling beat 'em up.
yes.
The character looks like Nathan Drake.
No, now they wasn't to beat him up. It was you was a shooter.
It was a shooter?
Shooter.
A side-scrolling shooter?
Yes.
Like Narc on NES?
No, not like Narc.
Well, that's a side-scrolling shooter.
I'm looking this up now.
What kind of
While he's looking it up, Jeff,
That
you
is
gotta go.
Yeah. I'm going to roll out. It's been fun, gentlemen. I
Cool,
will
man.
talk to you next week.
Shadow Complex. There you go.
Thanks for
Got it
hanging
right
out.
before you left.
I don't
He
know
looks
what
like
the hell that
Nathan
is,
Drake?
So it doesn't matter.
He does
Peace.
100% look like Nathan Drake. Peace.
I gotta look this up. So I remember playing Shadow Complex and I never. Yeah, I guess you're right. Sorta.
Yeah. And I if I remember correctly, you can like finish the game early because you can like leave your girlfriend in the complex. That's I guess a spoiler for a 20-year-old game at this point. It's a great
Wow.
game. They should remake that.
Did they?
All right, let's get back. Let's get to some fun questions. I got a fun one from Jack. I love this question. Top 3 favorite Dragon Ball Z characters and why? I'll let you go first, Donnie.
Vegeta? Like,
Okay.
I really only have one. I mean, I love Vegeta, so it's probably him. The other two,
Okay.
I don't know. Bardock? Always liked Bardock.
Okay.
Most Saiyan fans probably would. He's literally a mix between Vegeta and Goku. Like, that's basically what Bardock is.
Yes.
I don't know about the third one. Let me Google. Get some options.
Well, I have my list.
Okay.
Of course, Goku, because I love Goku. He's the good guy. I always like the good guys. Trunks, future Trunks in particular.
Dude,
I love that saga, and I
when
love.
Trunks showed up for the first time, that shit was badass. Like, it was the coolest character
Yes,
ever.
with the sword.
And then you get to meet Trunks, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh, it's not as cool anymore.
When he's a kid, like, yeah, this kid's annoying.
he's kind of
Future
annoying.
Trunks is my guy.
Yeah, but he shows
Future
up and he's
Trunks
got the
is
hair
my
and the
guy.
sword. You're like, what a badass. And then he starts training his dad and shit. You're like, this is dumb. Like, he's kind of a bitch.
Yeah. All right, who else? I'd probably say Gohan. I like Gohan a lot.
Yeah, he also goes through a phase where he's just not very.
I even like when he's Great
Likeable.
Sandman. I know people don't like Great Sandman, but I like Great Sandman.
I think my third one would be Bulma.
Oh yeah, she's great.
I want to say the Ginyu Force. Like, could I use just all of them? I was like, what? The Ginyu
That
Force
is
are
allowed.
fucking dope.
Yes, they are.
They were so much more fun and entertaining to watch than like the season and a half long fight with Frieza. Like, give me more of the Ginyu Force, man. They were hilarious.
that Frieza fight felt like it went on for eternity.
Oh, my son is watching. The reason he's asking this is he's watching the series now, and he just got to that fight. I was like, happy 29 episodes. He's like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
that's both season 3 and 4. Like, just the whole damn thing.
It's gonna be a whole episode of him just charging up.
I mean, 18's hot. Can't
Yeah,
go
she
wrong
is.
with. But Bulma is really cool, both from Dragon Ball, but also through Dragon Ball Z. I think she brings like her character brings a lot to the show. And like, so Chi-Chi is definitely like that mother figure, but doesn't really bring like, I think like a splash of like femininity like Bulma
No.
does. So
That's
Bulma
correct.
adds that to like offset like the testosterone fever dream that is Dragon Ball Z. But she also is not just that, but she's also badass in her own right. Like, she has that independent, like a badassery, type of thing to her
Yeah,
as
she's
well.
tough.
And she's also smart. Yeah, she has that toughness. And she's also smart. And especially when you get to see her in the mother role, like, there's not a lot of reasons to like Bulma. Like, she's just really
Yeah.
cool, kind of all
When you-
around.
When you see her and Vegeta together, like, this makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed, like, in the Dragon Ball series where you get to see her, like, she's basically the companion for Goku. Like, you really get to, like, I felt endeared to Bulma, like, in a way that I don't think a lot of the female characters really ever get. We don't ever really get too close with a lot of the other female characters. They're accessories, where Bulma plays a more featured
Yeah.
role. She's Goku's companion through childhood. She's Gohan's companion through Namek. She's Vegeta's companion through Z. Like, she's a more featured role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just no reason not to really like her. She's pretty funny. She's cool.
I agree.
She gets
she's dope.
Ginu'd. Which is funny.
All right. Our next question is from Ken Turner. He asks, how excited are you all for the new Bluey game being released? Have you seen this, Donnie?
Only because he asked this question did I look it up. I'm not excited about this at all. I understand that it's all the rage and the hotness and it's the new Teletubbies and the shit. I understand when you diss it, like saying anything against anything's popular, like Taylor Swift or anything else, like you just get fucking steamrolled for it. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't think it looks dumb. I don't think it looks entertaining at all. Like, I don't care.
Bluey's fun. It's a fun.
I'm glad
kid
you
show.
think so. I don't. My wife's
is.
like, dogs watching. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I really don't care.
Bluey's a fun kid show. The game looks like the show, so that's cool. That's all. I always appreciate that.
Does it have the same voice actors?
was it same voice actors?
So that's good.
So it literally
Yeah.
looks like an episode of Bluey.
Good,
It literally
good.
looks like the cartoon show. Like,
So it's not
that's
just
a cool thing.
a cheap tie-in. They're literally putting some effort into it. That's
This
nice.
is the show, essentially. Yeah.
Good.
So
Good.
that's cool.
I
I'm
couldn't
glad
care
that
less.
they're doing tie-ins that are
Yeah,
more
this is your
closely
jam. You love
resembling the
some damn
show.
licensed video games.
Yeah, I do. I like when they're true to the show and it doesn't look like it's a cheap cash-in. So this is cool.
I think license more than often than not. I would rather see just new IP grow than licensing. I feel like too many franchises and developers get trapped into licenses and they can't get away from them.
That is
I would
true.
much
That is
rather. I've said this for years, but I would much rather the Indiana Jones be a new property. I'd much rather they could make the same game with its new character and its new story, and I'd be much more excited than it being Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I like both. Give me both of them. Give me licensed, give me unlicensed. Just give me something good.
Well, the
too.
problem is with the amount of pressure that's put on these games to sell at the AAA level, I don't think we're getting both. I think we're seeing more and more people move to known properties, licensed IPs, things that they can bet on, that they feel is safer. That's why they're doing it, so they feel it's safer. It's easier to market. It's easier to appeal to people because it's a property that people know. But I think that lacks creativity, and I would like to see more of it put elsewhere instead of relying so much on IP.
I'm fine with it when it's studios like the studios making Bluey, and the studios making the RoboCop game. Smaller studios taking that on, like second-party studios. I don't.
Yeah, and all of
know
that
if I
has nothing to
enjoy
do
it
with
much
this.
when-
I wasn't trying to say anything.
Yeah.
Anything to do with
Yeah.
Bluey. I'm just talking overall.
Yeah, yeah. I less like it when it's big name studios, unless it's of course, Sony and Spider-Man. That's different. But
I think Gotham Knights might have been received differently if it wasn't a Batman game.
that's true.
But also in the same
It
breath,
wasn't a Batman game.
people
But-
could say then it would just be like Immortals of Avium, which just got like shut down because it didn't sell very well apparently, and they're going to give up on it. And that's a shame because the game just came out.
yeah, but
The game didn't even hit EA Pass yet. It didn't even jump into the vault. Like the fact that they didn't launch that game with a 10-hour trial is insane to me. This is a brand new IP. Like put people's hands on it, let them play it.
But this goes back to my whole other conversation I've had multiple times before. Is like people say they want new stuff, but then new stuff comes out
They don't
and
buy
they
it.
don't support it. So
So you know what that's
They
going to
don't
tell
buy it,
EA,
so-
right? More Star Wars, more Avatar.
not making that shit again.
Like that's just
Yeah,
that's
let's
it.
keep-
That's
let's
what
keep
you're
this
seeing with
light
Ubisoft.
stuff.
They're just going to start putting more into that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And Immortals of Avion got good reviews, so that's even more.
Yeah, like
crazy,
good enough,
'cause like
right?
I-
They didn't set the world on fire. I think the biggest
saw
problem
some
with it
hate since-
was that it came out in such a competitive window. It just got steamrolled. People were waiting on Starfield. People were playing Baldur's Gate. Like nobody was going to play that. That's the epitome of
that's
like
what-
a Black Friday game that people get their hands on for $25, and they start talking about how that's better than I thought it was going to be, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that one. Atlas
Ghostwire.
Fallen. I don't hear nothing about right now.
Oh, I forgot all
Yeah,
about that game.
Ghostwire
I
kinda got
completely
the same
forgot about
thing.
that. Yeah.
See, and that's always my point. Like people ask for new stuff, and new stuff comes out, and kind of gets annoyed.
No, that's
Ignore
true.
it
That's
completely, so-
100% true. Yeah. I
hope,
like to think I
Lies
buy
of P does well.
I buy a lot of new IP games, but not just ones that I'm not interested in. Like Immortals was always like, just because I'm excited because it's a new IP, but I'm not going to give them $70 for it. I'm going to wait. I think it's just being
I always
smart.
try to support things I'm interested in. Like if I'm interested in, because I want more of it, I'll try to buy it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Like that's why I bought all this Clock Tower stuff. And when the Clock Tower game comes, I'm going to buy any damn thing I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to support things that I'm really in on, but I don't know if I'm in on Immortals yet.
Yeah.
Got to play it first.
It's true.
And by then,
All
it'll
right.
be shut down. I am the product.
Completely shut down. All right. TPR says, right now, you apparently at Costco can pick up Tears of the Kingdom for $30. What's the best? This is the perfect question for Donnie. What's the best gaming deal you ever snagged? New/used/video game hardware, memorabilia, all is fair gaming.
Yeah, I've got a bunch. Got a bunch of stories. Ones I've already told before, I'm sure.
Yes.
What about you?
I'll give my easy one. I have a couple of ones. I'll give the easy one though. My Space Age Dragon's Lair cabinet. It came out, and I think it was for $600, and I ended up finding it on clearance for like $3.
Nice.
And it's not the one up arcade. It's like a full size arcade cabinet with big ass speakers on it. It's loud as hell. It's from the iArcade people, and they was originally selling them for like $5.99. I got it on clearance for $300.
Nice.
No taxes, nothing. So, and it's still working perfectly.
Very nice. Years ago, not when Twitter was like in its inception, but an earlier version of Twitter, man, like these stores would have like these price listings that were wrong and stuff. They would honor them. I got so many damn games for free. I remember one year Wario game, like Best Buy had a coupon that they didn't realize what was going on. And I bought like 10 games for like $8. Like it was insane.
Oh, shit.
It's how I got I think I got Prey and Dishonored. They were like $4 because it's coupon. And back then, Best Buy would just honor it. They'd be like, well, we fucked up. Here's the game. Now everybody just cancels your shit. Like they caught wind. They're like, we're not going to do this anymore.
Immediately.
Yeah. So like this isn't really a thing anymore. But I used to hunt all those deals that way. The one that comes immediately to mind, I've probably told the story again, so I'll give you the shorthand version, is I went to a flea market in town when I first bought this house. back in like 2016. I was just walking around the square. There's like this used flea market store. And I remember the thing that I always remember and I laugh at is they had a used bottle of mouthwash for sale. It was like an open bottle of mouthwash, which I'm sure it was like fine mouthwash, but it was like maybe a third emptied. So it was like 2/3 a bottle of mouthwash for like $1. I was like, this is fucking insane. Like, who's buying this? Nobody's going to buy this. Just throw this shit away. Right. Like, even though it's mouthwash, like, I'm sure it's fine. It's mouthwash. Right. Like, it's totally fine. But, like, nobody's going to use somebody else's used mouthwash. Right.
No.
You know, it just doesn't matter. But in that store, I came across a pile of GameCube games. They wanted $5 each. All of them. Like, and it was insane. Everything you could imagine. I had Zelda promo discs, Wind Waker, Sealed, Resident Evil 4 Steelbook Edition, Star Fox Adventures, Pikmin, all of it. Like every first party GameCube game you could think of was there in a stack of like 30 games. They wanted $5 each for. I looked them square in the face and I said, I'll give you $60 for the stack. And they were like, sure. And I thought I robbed them.
That's perfect.
Like I literally felt like I robbed them. Like I was like, this is ridiculous. At the time I didn't have a GameCube. So I went to a local game store and I was like, look at what I just bought. And they're like, we hate you so much. And there were 3 Zelda promotion discs in the collection. 3. Not just one, there's 3 of them. One of them was sealed. And I was like, hey, I'll give you this one. I'll give you the sealed one for I want 2 GameCubes and like accessories. So he gave me 2 GameCubes, 2 Wavebirds, a couple controllers, memory cards, and like threw in like a Yoshi for Jack, like a stuffed Yoshi. And I gave him the thing and we went home and I hooked up all the TVs and we played GameCube for about 2 days. And my kids told me how much they hated GameCube because the graphics were old and they didn't want to play it and they didn't like Sunshine and they didn't like Double Dash. And I ended up selling it like a year later. I just sold all of it on Craigslist for like, I think I sold it for like $700. And the guy that bought it from me drove from Kentucky to pick them up. He drove like 7 hours to buy them from me.
Damn.
So, GameCube stuff is hot. It has been hot for years. Like people love collecting GameCube stuff. And yeah, if my kids weren't going to play it, you know, I'm not a collector. I already had so many games like on Wii U and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I don't need to keep this stuff. Better it go into the hands of a collector than me. And I just sold it. I just got a great deal. If I can add another one to the story. I didn't even think about this, but I posted in the Discord today. You may see this. I have a new canvas on the wall. You see this one right here?
Yes.
Clock Tower. I've been in the mood for Clock Tower. I've been feeling the Clock Tower vibes. And I have my copy of Clock Tower, the game, and I've had it. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, I have all this stuff on all my shelves and stuff, and I don't have nearly enough Clock Tower stuff. Now, one, they didn't make a lot of it, right? So like, it's not like there's a bunch of stuff I can go buy. Clock Tower stuff is insanely expensive. Insanely expensive. $300 for a copy of Clock Tower 2 on PlayStation 1, like in mint condition. But that's American. It's North American versions. You can import Japanese versions of Clock Tower shit for dirt cheap. Nothing. So I was shopping on eBay. One of the things I did this week for vacation is I wanted to do Clock Tower stuff. I wanted to put Clock Tower stuff in my thing. I was like, I want to switch up the canvases a little bit. So I ordered some Clock Tower canvases. One is right behind me. The other one I've posted pictures in the Discord. And I was going to buy some Clock Tower stuff. I was going to like look for some guides, you know, like just shelf ornaments, some discs, some guides, not spend too much money. And I was looking at, there's a lot of Japanese listings for stuff. And I was like, I'll just import some of this stuff. It was going to cost me like $150, maybe $175 for like everything that I wanted. And while doing that, I kept cross-referencing, looking around, and I got suggested a listing from a guy in Alabama who had a batch of Clock Tower imported stuff from Japan. He had Clock Tower, the first 3 games, Clock Tower, the First Fear, Clock Tower 2, Clock Tower Ghost Head, as well as Clock Tower 3, and he had collector's guides for all of them. They're in Japanese.
What if the awesome guy from Alabama has all this stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. He has an eBay store where he just has a bunch of like vintage game stuff. So he had all of the stuff listed individually for different items. And he had the collector's edition guides, which is kind of what I was shopping for. The guidebooks that they made in Japan are like comic books. They have like tutorials in Japanese of how to beat the level, but in between them, in between the levels, they have like comic scenes of like art and stuff that you can read and flip through.
Explaining the story.
Yeah, which looks cool, and they're full colored
cool.
and everything. And I was like, this is cool, and they look great. So I just messaged him, and I was like, hey, I'm looking to build like a clock tower section on a shelf, and I noticed that you have like 8 items. I was like, I want to just give you $80 for all of it. Like, are you like, can we do that? And he was like, yeah, I'll send it to you now. He's like, this stuff's been in my store for like a year. And I just bought all of it for $80.
Perfect.
I got copies of all the games. I got Clock Tower 1, 2, 3, and Ghost Head. And I got collector's edition guidebooks. The guidebooks are like mint for all 3.
Damn.
And I bought the canvas and I put it on my shelf. And then the other thing that I found was on Etsy, some guy that makes reproduction games for like N64 and stuff. They'll build the cartridge and flash them. He had a cartridge for Clock Tower on SNES. It's a working thing. He took the fan translated ROM and flashed it to the cart and made a repro. And he's got a box. It works. Yeah, I can stick it in a Super Nintendo and it works. And I bought that too.
Holy crap, that's cool.
And I was like, I'll just put this on the shelf. Just a cool little shelf ornament.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It came with a box, like a Super Nintendo new game box. I was like, that's neat. And I put all that stuff on my shelf next to my Last of Us stuff. And
I wonder, is that a profitable business?
You never know. And it wasn't that
It's a
much.
good idea.
It was like $30 for the box and the cartridge and all that. You know, I was like, a little high, but who cares? I just wanted it for display. It looks good on display. I already have the ROM. I have the ROM on my Ally. I have the ROM on my Super Nintendo Classic. So like, I'm good. And I'm not going to play it. I'm going to wait for the new version to come out and play that. So, but yeah, I thought it was nice that I lucked out. Like I said, the Japanese folks were selling like similar things for like $150, $160, and I was going to have to wait a month for shipping and imports and all that. And this guy was just like, yeah, I'll take your money. I was like, thanks. And it got here like the next day too, because he's in Birmingham. We're literally like 2 hours away from each other. He put it in the mail that day,
perfect.
and the shit arrived on my doorstep the next day. So it was
That is perfect.
beautiful. Easy button.
Definitely. All right. We got 2 questions here that are each one of us specific.
Okay.
So I'll read Kyle Pug's question first. He asks, are the Cleveland Browns playoff hopes in danger now?
Yes.
That Nick Chubb is out for the season. Also, my fantasy football dreams are dead too because of that.
Yeah, I mean, the Cleveland Browns have playoff hopes. I mean, I think that's in itself a crazy thing to say out loud. I never take wins for granted with the Browns. I don't care how talented or good their team is. They've never had, in my history of being a Browns fan, since the expansion, of course, I don't think they've ever had like back-to-back winning records in 2 years consecutively. Oof. So I'm like, you know, there are all these Browns fans like on the radio, and I listen to them and I hear them when they call into the radio in Cleveland. I listen to the radio while I'm working. And I hear all these Browns fans, they call in with the most ludicrous things to say. You know, they're like, we've got to be Super Bowl contenders. We've got to make moves. We're trying to win it. I'm like, how about we go 9-8 2 years in a row? Like, that's my bar. That's like my level of success. Can we win more games than we lose?
How about we have
2 years in a row? Yeah, like just, I don't even care if we make the playoffs or not. Just win more than you lose in back-to-back seasons. That would be the goal for me. Like, I just want the Browns to be a competent, decent NFL team. Like I always tell my family, I just want to turn on the game and hope that they can win instead of expecting them to lose. And these people out here are like Super Bowl, like the fuck Super Bowl. I'm not even there yet. Not even there yet. Like, we just suck for so long. And seeing Nick Chubb get hurt was debilitating. He's definitely our best player. But more so than that, it means so much more than him just being our best player. He was on track to be like one of the better Cleveland Browns of all time. This was a franchise type player, not a good player, like a Hall of Famer. Nick Chubb has been the shit his entire career. He's awesome. And he fit the city and the fans. He's our type of player, the type of player the Browns fans, I think, rally behind. And to see him break his leg that way was debilitating, deflating. Like, it was just ruined. Like, I almost wanted to just turn the game off and didn't even watch anymore. And then to see them go out there and just look inept and self-destruct and fall on their face whenever possible, that just made it worse. So I wouldn't be betting on the Browns to do anything without significant improvement. Deshaun Watson looks like shit out there. Terrible. I haven't looked at the game film. I just watched the broadcast, so I haven't seen what he was staring at. But I can't imagine that all of his receivers were covered. Like, he was just holding on to the ball. He looked scared to throw it. He just looked scared to release it. Yeah, he just looked like a deer in headlights.
That's
he was
rough.
seeing, and I know Steelers have a great defense, so like credit to them, they're doing their job. But like we see quarterback, like I know it's not easy to be a quarterback in the NFL. It's a hard job, but we see quarterbacks can make complete passes all the time. Rookies, like this guy wouldn't even like let go of the ball sometimes. Like I was just like, dude, that was troubling. That was deeply concerning. More concerning than having a bad game was the fact that he looked scared to throw. It makes me think that I think he's second guessing what he's seeing. And that worries me greatly. That scares the shit out of me more than anything else.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season.
We're stuck with him. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're stuck with him. We can't do anything about it. We couldn't cut or trade him if we wanted to. The amount of money that is guaranteed to him, he's not going anywhere for 3 or 4 years. That's why what I saw was deeply concerning. I'm like, oh no. Our only other option is to just bench him. We could just pay him $300 million to sit on the bench. Yeah. Which they're not going to do. He can be as terrible can be. They're going to keep playing him. So
Yeah, 'cause they're paying him.
they got to
A
snap.
lot.
They got to snap him out. They got to get him out of it. I don't know what's on in his head. I've seen Deshaun Watson play. I do not like Deshaun Watson as a person at all. I wish they didn't trade for him, but I've seen him play. He's a good player. I don't know what's happening with him right now. I don't know if it's a scheme. I don't know if it's the offensive line. He was running for his life. We weren't blocking at all. Like that was a problem. But even that, what I saw from him was concerning.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield would have won that game. And I don't like Baker Mayfield, but he would have won that game.
Crazy. All right. My question is, from Crystal Storm, who are you romancing in Baldur's Gate 3? Everyone is the answer. I am taking everyone I can
Hot girl summer
to
out there.
Pound Town. Yes.
Yep. That's good stuff.
Everyone. Yes. The question is, who am I not banging in Baldur's Gate 3?
100%.
As soon as they give me the option to bang them, I'm going to bang them.
That was me in Valhalla. Valhalla, I was just swapping from partner to partner to partner.
They're going to be like, you want to have sex? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thought you never asked.
The funny thing, I was more choosy with Cyberpunk. Like I was specifically trying to find certain romance options. In Valhalla, I gave no fucks.
Pan Am was my girl.
Pan Am was the best. Yeah, she was the bomb.
Yeah.
In Valhalla, they're like, "Do you want to bang your brother's
relationship.
wife?" I was like, absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
Do you want to bang this redheaded witch that tried to kill you? Mm-hmm. Yep. Sure do.
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it. See how that works out. Rolling my dice with that one.
Yep. It's like terrible decisions. They're like, "Are you sure?" Yeah. And you didn't hear me the first. Did I stutter?
Yeah. Let's go. I plan on having the people in my party talking about me. Like, he's fucking all of us. Like, yeah. We're aware.
Yep. Sigurd was like,
They're gonna have to
are
have
you
an
banging
intervention
my
with me like
wife?
this.
I was like, fuck yeah, I am. And the girl outside that sells pelts, and the girl down by the docks, and the Irish girl,
all of
and
all of them. That is always going to be the answer. All of them. That is the answer.
100%. 100%.
All right, here comes D-Life coming to try to make us be a knowledgeable podcast. D-Life asks, who do you guys think would/could buy Nintendo first? Fuck out of here. I don't want to answer this. The Apple or Microsoft? Also, based on both companies' track records, and what do you think they're both trying to do in the gaming space? Who would offer the more attractive offer to Nintendo? D-Life, it's 12 o'clock at night. I'm not trying to think about this. I think, who do you think would try to buy him first? Well, both of them are going to try to buy him regardless. It's not about first.
There are only certain
Like,
companies
this
that
is
can even
more like-
afford them, and those are two. I think if Nintendo actually became for sale, I think the company that I would have a hard time seeing somebody beat out would be Disney.
Yes, that would be the company that would try to be like, put all
I
their money on
think
the table.
Disney would buy them for their IP and still let them make their own hardware.
Yes.
They would let them like run their own gaming division, and then they would they would own their IP, so they would look to make money off of their shows and movies and cartoons, and they would try to incorporate all of that into the Apple ecosystem. I mean, into the Disney ecosystem, and then still let Nintendo like do their games.
Be
Like
Nintendo.
maybe
that
they would
actually might be the safest option.
Oh, I
probably
agree. Because the problem with Apple or Microsoft is that they would then try to bend Nintendo into their hardware. And of the two,
Yes.
I think Apple would be best because I think Apple would make concessions to Nintendo that Microsoft wouldn't. And what I mean by that is if Nintendo sold to Apple, I think Apple would be like, we want your games on the new Apple TV and iPads, right? And I think Nintendo would go, okay, that works for us. We do mobile anyway. We'll do that. But I think Apple would be like, but we're going to let you design the controller.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think they're going to be like, we're going to let you design the controller, and we're going to bring you into like our smartphone. Like, do you want like an Amiibo reader in your smartphone? Like, I think things like that Apple would work with Nintendo on. Whereas if Microsoft bought Nintendo, then I think Microsoft's like, we just want your games on Xbox and PC.
Yeah. Then Nintendo just becomes Xbox.
Well, no, I
Yeah,
just think
Nintendo
Nintendo
games.
just becomes software. They just become games, right? They
Yeah.
become Sega.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna, and like I don't think that works for Nintendo. Like, I
Yeah,
know
that's-
people don't want to hear it because Nintendo doesn't make the hardware that people traditionally salivate for, but Nintendo makes Nintendo hardware, and it applies to the games that they want to make, and I would hate to lose that ever.
And that's my point. That's why I love Nintendo, because Nintendo is going to think outside the box and do what they want to do and give you that cool thing. Like the Switch is amazing.
I think there's probably a good possibility here that Xbox does like a hybrid where Xbox goes, we want your games on the new Xbox, but we also want an Xbox handheld, and we're going to let Nintendo design the handheld. I could see that. I could see Nintendo being like, we're going to come out with a new Switch, right? And it has all of the Xbox and Nintendo games on it, or you could buy the console and it has all the Xbox and Nintendo games on it. I think Xbox would be totally fine with that because, and I've been trying to say this for years, I think maybe people are finally starting to come around on it. Xbox is not trying to out console people. They do not give a fuck. The console is just a device you can buy for Game Pass. So one of the things that we saw in the leak was that they are looking at like a multi-device future. They're not looking at next generation as here's our new box to play games on. Next generation is a myriad of devices, laptops, towers, consoles, handhelds, phones. It's all Xbox. That's
Everything.
That's their psyche. So I do think Nintendo could probably have some wiggle room there, but I don't think Nintendo could design the console. I don't think Xbox could allow themselves to release a Nintendo designed hardware as like the main attraction. I think it goes against what Microsoft does. I don't think they would do it. But handheld, I think they would.
I agree.
Like, oh, you want
That'd be
a
cool.
tablet with Joy-Cons and NFC reader and a camera and all this shit? I think they'd figure it out. My fear for Apple or Microsoft buying Nintendo is we know what Nintendo provides to them. What do they provide to Nintendo?
Oh, that's a good question. The
Like,
first
what
thing
have
that
they-
came to my mind is like
What have they bought that was improved upon after they bought them?
No.
That's the fear. Like, obviously, they've got money and they've got better hardware specs, but I don't think that matters a whole lot. Nintendo is outselling. Like, that's the craziest thing with people being like, I can't believe Xbox wants to buy everything. Like Nintendo's like, look at you. You're losing money on consoles sold because you're just packing all this tech in it and everything, and we were outselling you 4-1 with some shit we designed in 2015. Like, they're like, go fuck yourself. Like, you're not even in their
tablet.
Yeah, you're not even in their ballpark. You're not even.
With
like, who?
Tablet.
Who?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I think that a lot of that gets lost if, like, theoretically Xbox owns Nintendo. I don't think that works.
Yeah.
Disney makes more sense. Amazon might be the worst.
Yeah. They'll be.
Because I could totally see them being like, they've got all the money. They spend all the money and they're like, we're just going to put Mario on your Fire tablet. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, how wrong does that sound?
That sounds horrible.
Disney would probably be my first preference. My second preference would probably be PlayStation.
PlayStation probably do good by them.
But they couldn't afford it.
No, not at all. All right. Our next question. You know what? I'm going to go to Court Lalonde. I think these last two questions are really interesting. He asks, what is the most renowned video game of all time?
Hang on. Nathan says Disney is in a financial position to do that. I'm not believing that for a little bit. Yes, Disney is losing money on ESPN. Disney has money. They've got insane amounts of money. And here's the thing. They just get a loan. Like they could finance. Like, yeah, Disney has the money. Now they may not have the money to outbid anybody, but it may not even matter to that. Right? If Nintendo actually says we want to sell, they may sell to somebody that's the best position. Like Endeavor didn't outbid everybody for WWE. WWE chose to sell to Endeavor because they thought it was a better fit for them. It would be probably one of those situations where Amazon can probably outbid everybody in the world. So can Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. That doesn't mean they're going to sell to them. Like, that doesn't mean anything. It's not just about who puts up the highest number. It's who also, like, how's the fit? Like, who do you, like, they still have employees and customers to do right by. I don't think it's going to be like a North American, just how many zeros are on the check sort of decision. If Nintendo was to sell, I don't think it would come down to that.
Yeah, they can get their own money. And they have been getting their own money, so.
I mean, just think of the power of Nintendo at Disney World. Mickey Mouse next to Mario. Like, that's insane. It's totally insane.
That alone would make them tons of money.
100%. I'm sorry, Nathan. I understand what you're trying to say, and I understand that, like, with all the news and everything, that might be like the kind of the status quo, but I'm not believing it for a bit. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. Nintendo's not for sale. But if they came for sale, I definitely think Disney would be in super interest. 100%. They're there.
All right. Court asks, what's the most renowned video game of all time?
I have an answer.
What's your answer?
Tetris.
That might be the answer. That might be actually the answer.
We're talking about a singular game, not a franchise, because franchise is Mario. But Mario means a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. But a singular game, I would go on Tetris. I think almost everybody in the world recognizes Tetris. They know that stupid-ass song, and they kind of, even if they've not played the game, they understand, like, what Tetris is.
Yes. And if they see, like, a game that looks like Tetris, they're going to probably say, that's Tetris. It doesn't have to be Tetris. Be like columns or some shit like that. Like, oh, that's Tetris.
Yep.
Because that's what we know in our head.
Yep. Any mobile look-alike or anything, it's all Tetris.
Just Tetris. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just like when somebody sees a cola soda, they're like, that's Coke. Doesn't have to be Coke unless take a look at that's Coke, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was trying to think of, like, when I saw this question, when I put this question on the doc, in my head I thought, what is like a 45-year-old aunt who's never played video games, like what video games would she know? And in my head I thought Tetris. They probably know what Tetris is.
I thought Pokemon. I thought Mario.
Yeah, no, franchises, I think you're on point. franchises.
Yeah.
Like with the power of Pokemon, the RPGs, and Pokemon Go, that's a good question. But in a singular game, it's hard to choose which
It's
one.
Tetris.
Right? Yeah. I think Tetris is a good guess for a singular game.
Because everybody knows Tetris.
I was also trying
Even
to.
if they don't know Tetris.
I was trying to think outside the box, like would Solitaire or like Minesweeper count? I was trying to think things like that, things that appeal to
Solitaire
lots
would
of
count,
different
I think.
people. Yeah,
Solitaire's up there. Yeah, I think Solitaire was up there.
but Tetris, man, that whole. I think you could just play that. You wouldn't have to show people the game. You could just be like, "Hey, what's this song from?" And I think like
And
8
they'll
out
say
of
Tetris.
10, everybody would be like, "It's Tetris."
My dad used to play Tetris. My dad was not a video game player at all. He used to play Tetris.
I know
all
so many
day.
stories. My aunt, I've told this story on Shaq before. When I was little, I got sent to live with my aunt for like a summer. She had a Game Boy. I never had a Game Boy. I never had a handheld. She bought an entire platform and everything to play Tetris. She played it after church.
My dad did too.
She sat down and played
My
Tetris.
dad bought it for Tetris.
I bought Spider-Man and played Spider-Man on it and Mario, and I just played those because she had a Game Boy, but she didn't care about any of those games. She never played them. She just played Tetris.
Yeah,
She had that
my
thing for
dad-
like 15 years. Just played Tetris for 15 years. The same game.
That's how my dad was. My dad got to the ending of Tetris. Like, how the fuck do you get to the ending of Tetris?
I didn't even. Yeah,
I didn't know that
she
was
still
a thing.
had it when in high school. She still had it. She was like going through her stuff and she found her Game Boy, and she called me and she's like, "You remember that Game Boy you said? I just found it." I was like, "That's crazy." She's like, "Yeah, put battery, it still works." I was like, "Of course it does."
Oh,
Like, yeah,
I'm going to play Tetris again.
pretty much. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that people have these type of stories with video games. No matter what age, culture, or creed, there's always one person who they'll say, "I don't play video games, but it's that one game I play."
Mm-hmm.
Always.
My wife's game is
It
Peggle.
might be Candy Crush.
She's not
some
that into
Peggle, something
games,
like
but
that.
she loves some Peggle. Highly competitive
Yeah.
too. She really wants to win too.
Peggle's good.
I think Busty Moves better.
All right.
But, yeah.
I'll do Delvin Jr.'s question next, and we'll go to Brandon Myers last. I think you might have an interesting story based on what Brandon Myers on is. So Delvin Jr. asks, "What's a game you felt got ruined by other people hyping it up too much?" God of War 2018 was a game that he really got hyped up for, but he just thought it was all right. So what's a game
Delvin
that you
Jr.?
think people ruined for you?
You were wrong. God of War was fucking
Yes, he
awesome.
is. It is.
It was a great game. It really, really is.
One of my favorite games.
I feel like I should have a better answer for this, but nothing's really coming to mind. Red Dead?
I guess my answer has to be Breath of the Wild.
Oh God, I hate that.
But based off of what we know about me, I think the hype got to me. I think now, if I go back to Breath of the Wild now after playing Tears of the Kingdom as much as I have, I'd probably enjoy it a lot more.
I would like you to do so. I want to play Breath of the Wild again.
I think I might.
I'm kind of hoping that it gets that update that they're showing off. Like if they can give us like 60 frames a second 4K Breath of the Wild, like I'm replaying it. I'm gonna replay Breath of the Wild again. I love that
I
game.
think I actually might. I think
Yeah, that'd be cool.
with the odds I have now, I'll go back into it like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought it was.
It'd be
I
a
know
neat
what the fuck to
experiment.
do.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, I was over the moon for and so excited and all the marketing and kept hearing about how great it was going to be, and it ended up and I went down in a blaze of glory, just a fiery crash with that game. Played the game for about 10 hours and I was like, I can't believe I hate this game as much as I do. It was one of those
And
games
the funny
where
thing about that is,
I kept playing it hoping to change my mind. I was like, obviously something's wrong. Like there's no way you hate this game. You love the first one. And the more and more I played it, I was like, I really don't like this.
and I had the opposite experience. I don't think I loved it. I had the opposite experience from that game where I heard some people talking about that game, how much they didn't like it because it was so slow paced. So when I played, like,
Is it
this
just
not
me?
as bad as people thought it was.
Because I didn't hear a lot of people hating it. I thought most people
I heard a
loved
lot
that
of people
game.
saying, like, I heard a lot of people saying they didn't like it because it was so slow paced and it was so complex with certain things.
It definitely was slow paced.
But yeah, that got to a lot of people that you had to go. And then I heard people talk about the second half of the game. I don't want to spoil that part. People didn't like a lot. Yeah.
We know, Haley. We know. It's like she's contractually obligated to let us know every time we bring it up. I'm allowed to not like it.
Yes. Apparently you're not.
It's like Dev. Every time I say anything about The Last of Us 2, he has to reiterate the opposite opinion. They know.
That
I can say my feelings too.
No, you can't.
Not uncontested.
Have
That's
you
for
not
sure.
learned this yet? You can't. Our final question from Brendan Myers. He asks, what is one of your favorite work stories that made you question how was this person hired?
I do have one. But I know how he was hired, but I do have one.
Okay.
Trying to think how.
Want to give you mine real quick? Mine's a simple story.
Sure.
I actually had to fire this person, so that made me even more crazy. When I was young, I worked at a restaurant. Not a restaurant. I can say what the fuck I worked at. Worked at Einstein Bagels. I ended up
Like
working my way up to
1935 or something.
I wish I was like 19 or 20, like 19, 20. And I worked in Einstein Bagels.
1975.
I became the assistant manager. back in the old days when I had the afro. So, I kid you not, this happened right in front of me. I was working the shift. One of the employees worked there had an issue with a customer. They got in an argument, and the customer was like yelling at him. He's like, "Are you gonna finish making my bagel?" So the guy proceeds to go in the back and tells me, "I'm gonna spit on this guy's bagel."
Ooh.
Like, you can't do that. And then he proceeds to do it. Like, nope, absolutely not. I grabbed it so the guy couldn't get it. And like, nah, you gotta go. You can't work here doing that. Like, and like, knowing I'm the supervisor, he thought it was a good idea to tell me this story and then do it in front of me. He's like, fuck this guy. I'm gonna spit on this guy's bagel. I'm like, no, that's disgusting.
Wow.
And like, yeah, he just did it right in front of me. He was gonna give it to the guy.
That is disgusting.
Yeah, like, you can't work here. Yeah.
Mine isn't that good. We had an employee that got assigned to our department because sometimes in government that happens. A friend of like the county manager didn't have a job. He was like, "You're just gonna go work over here," and he had no idea what we did, and didn't give a shit either. Didn't care to learn. Didn't care.
Just there.
When I mean didn't give a shit, I mean this is actually something liberating and freeing to his madness. We used to always joke at like 2:00 every day, he would just get up and leave. Like he would
just leave?
Yeah, he would just go walk. Like people would see him, we'd see him out. Like he would just go like take a walk for like 2 hours. And he'd just come back and sit down like nothing happened. And just work for like 30 minutes and pack him and go home. But the greatest thing that ever happened was the greatest thing that ever happened was we have a small team. We always have. We don't have a big budget. Even compared to other major metropolitans, we're minimal. But even compared to like local counties, we're kind of small. Like there were smaller counties that have twice as many people as us. So when we have big projects, we all have to like kind of share the load, and we all kind of cross train. We all kind of know a little bit about what each other's doing. So every year in February, there's like a school safety awareness week, like nationwide, that the National Weather Service conducts. And they'll do like fire drills and tornado drills, and they'll do like communication tests. And it's like this national effort to test procedures. And every year we participate. Like we work with the schools on doing like social media. We maybe like make some flyers or something. This is like bread and butter, generic daily stuff. This is not a big deal. It's a very minor task. Yeah. My boss tasked this employee with coming up with a preparedness like flyer to send out to the schools. Like he's gonna just like, hey, put some. I mean, like this is as cut and dry, paint by numbers as you can get in my office. This is brainless work. Like, hey, grab some cool safety factoids, some school safety factoids, checklists, whatever. Like draw up like an 8x11, like do a little flyer. We'll send it out to the schools. This man had 2 months to work on this. Months.
2 months?
2 months. This was
To
like
write a letter?
his only task. Honestly, the assignment was to make a flyer. And he didn't have to draw or anything. Like we have a graphics department that does that. Like his job was to meet with the graphics department, bring them a couple sentences of like school safety things to do, and make a flyer. Like just work. Like basically they make it. You just kind of lead them to making what you want. And when the day came for all of us to show like our effort, we're talking like the day before all of this stuff's supposed to be going out. And like I had to do like a plan and run an event and like go do a speaking engagement. We had other people to like go to school. Like we are working. This guy is not working. This guy is just busy work. I kid you not. We come to sit down in the cafeteria. We come to sit down in our conference room. We were all sitting around the table. My boss goes around one by one, getting updates from everybody on what they did. And I swear to God, I kid you not, in every literal sense of what I'm about to tell you happened. We got to him. He was second from last. All right, Steven, your job was to get our flyer together this year. Like, what did you do? He put a piece of paper on the table that had one sentence written on it. It went all the way across to the end, and one word got down to the next line. So I'm talking one line and one word. So when I say a sentence, I'm not even talking about a compound sentence like a paragraph or like a 3 sentences together. He had a one line and one word on an 8x11 sheet of paper that didn't even have a header on it. No logo, no header, there wasn't a to whom it may concern from, it wasn't signed. It literally was a blank piece of paper, a white piece of paper with one line and one word of text.
I bet he felt like I nailed it.
And making matters, I fell out of my chair laughing in front of everybody. I couldn't not do it. My boss was like, Donnie. I was like, what the fuck do you mean, Donnie? Donnie, you need to take this shit up with him. The fuck are you talking about? We're over here working our asses off, and this guy showed up with a sentence. And he acted like this was the assignment. He's like, yeah, we're going to fax this out to all the schools today.
No.
Wild, right? Like, just insane. I tell my boss often.
He should have been fired.
Well, we couldn't fire him. He's county manager's friend. Politics. Could not fire him. He knew the right people. So what happened was the manager took another job and he went with him.
Oh.
So, but the thing that I told my boss was, I said, when I first started working, like years ago, 2008, 2009, I think I showed up to work every day with fear that I would be fired. Like for whatever reason, I just had this constant fear that if I didn't do a really great job, like people would let me go. They'd find somebody else to do it. And I've always kind of carried that. Like I am kind of a tryhard. When it comes to work, I want to impress. Always. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I don't half-ass anything. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it as best I can. Not like good enough to get the job done. I'm talking like I want national recognition for the work that I do. I want it to exceed everybody else's work. I think that's why I was Mercer's Outstanding Student of the Year in my graduating class. Like I'm that guy. And the fact that this man just like fucking threw a sheet of paper on that basically had one sentence on it. Like I could not believe it. And I told my boss, I was like, yeah, I'm going to let this go. I was like, I don't think I'll ever get fired. Like I think I could show up for 6 months and not do anything and I probably still wouldn't get fired. Like he taught me how hard it was to find good employees. Not great employees, not the best ever employees, good, reliable employees. It honestly is really difficult. People that are involved in hiring, like it's really, really hard. Not qualified employees. That's not even what I'm saying. Not even the smartest employees. just good people, just people that like want to do well. Like that in itself is a hard thing to recruit. We've had numerous people that come through that look like they're just hanging out. Like it blows my mind. I'm like, okay, you're just here for 8 hours a day and doing as little as possible, I guess. I mean, good on you. Like if that's like your prerogative in life, I don't have that bone in me, to like just coast, like so yeah, that's the wild story, I guess. Shit blew my mind.
That's a good one.
I'll never forget it. The man basically handed my boss a blank piece of paper. It was a tweet. He put a tweet on a piece of paper. It was 140 characters or less for sure. A tweet would have had more characters than what he handed in for 2 months of work.
That is so wild.
Isn't it?
And you got paid for it.
I was like, I didn't even think that was possible. Like you're opening my eyes to all new realities I didn't think existed.
I'd ask so many questions. Like, what were you doing for the past 2 months?
Oh, when my boss started yelling at me, then because that's one thing is, my boss started yelling at me about my outburst, and then I started yelling at him. So we got into it. He was like, "How dare you?" I was like, "How dare I? Fuck about this guy!" Like in front of everybody, right in front of him. It's one of this fucking loser.
Post-it note.
Are you fucking serious? Fuck off! You be yelling at me. I did my work.
I gave you work. He gave you a goddamn post-it note.
Look at these fucking flunkies. Yeah. It's just crazy. It was absolutely wild. It was unbelievable. And that's the sad part is I've met maybe 5 people like him.
5 like him?
Yeah. Not necessarily in our department, but like just in government. I've just come across so many people who like him. Yeah. So if Dev was here, I think Dev would 100% back me up on this. Like in the IT space, our IT department has hundreds of employees. Like there's so many people everywhere. And to get anything done, like honestly, you really need to get a hold of like one of like 8 people. Like there was 8 people that like do everything. And everybody else basically just like services those 8 people. Like they basically like everybody else like more or less kind of like screens an email or a call about an issue that one of these 8 people will have to deal with at some point. And like you're just working your way up. You're just escalating issues to one of these 8 people. Like that's how the whole IT department works. It is super counterproductive and inefficient and expensive, and it just is. Like it just is how it's just how it's done. And that's not like uncommon. It's like a normal thing. It's crazy. Huge waste of money.
Wow.
That's what I told my boss. I was like, "You never fire me. Fuck out of here with that nonsense." I am worth my weight in gold to you.
Clearly.
You give me a project and I bust shit out so damn good other people take notice. Like I am the least of your concerns.
Yes. You have 1,000 other employees to worry about.
Yeah. Well, this person over here sitting in the corner. Nobody even knows what they do anymore.
That man
why are
is
you
playing
here?
Gallagher.
Office space really hits hard. That's why that movie's so great is I think everybody knows people like that. Everybody's seen organizations like that. Like the older you get, you start working in more places. You're like, oh my God. So ahead of its time, that movie.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, Nathan
I think
does
that's
IT.
going to do it for us. Oh.
I think that's why he said he
Oh, he
thinks
does?
this is 100% accurate. I think he gets it. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta think I should just get an IT then. Just get paid.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
years doing nothing.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, there's like a guy that does servers, there's a guy that does databases, or a girl that does databases. If you need networking, there's like 2 guys. There's like 2 guys for security. There's like a couple guys for like Microsoft apps and like client services. And then everybody else is basically like one giant help desk organization to get them things to do. So like you're basically just like jumping through hoops. They're like, did you unplug it and plug it back in? Did you reset your password? Like they're just doing menial tasks so you don't bother one of these 8 people that are actually working. And then if your issue is big enough, then it gets escalated to them and then they actually do something. But if you don't get like one of those people on, nothing changes.
So I need to be one of the people like, hey, did you unplug your router?
We got dozens of those people. By the boatload, by the bucket load, do we have people that you can? My email isn't working. They're, oh, did you sign in? Like, no shit, did I sign in?
Yeah.
You know, I count myself lucky that I'm like, I'm not probably considered like one of the 8, but I'm like 8.5. Like I'm just on that next rung that like I can call them anytime and they pick up for me, and I do the same. Right. So like I'm kind of considered like one of those movers, you know, because I maintain my own environment, my own databases, my own servers, my own stuff, and my own application. So anything that touches my domain at all, through my employees, through my users, IT, in the cloud, whatever, it falls to me. So that's when you start to get on the in crowd and you're like, oh, now I see the matrix. Now I see how this all works.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all got a 3-hour show today, y'all. That'll do it for us. You know what? Let me say this. We need to get more people on Discord, man. The Discord is a great community. Y'all should check it out.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
PSVG. Yeah. I don't care about the Twitter. Twitter's going to die. That dude's talking about charging
They're about to start charging you.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to talk about Twitter. Just come on the Discord, come hang out with us, enjoy the good time, the fun time. We have a lot of chats that are amazing, a fun group of people that you can enjoy and have fun with and talk about video games with. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we go, Donnie?
I'm good, man. Fun show.
All right. Play some video games.
Peace.